Chapter 169. His clothes were ragged and his expression was indifferent. He led the cultivators to the Tsiua forbidden area, Liangbao Palace. Thinking about meeting old ancestor Jie Xiu soon, Jingzhua and the other old ancestors had a hint of expectation in their eyes. Only Ning Fan's heart was as still as water. He was thinking about how to deal with Jie Xiu. Although Jie Xiu was only at the early nascent soul realm and didn't have the false divine intent, Ning Fan paid more attention to him compared to old scholar Song Yi. This person had been examining him for 3 days. During these 3 days, his spirit sense didn't fluctuate at all. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's divine sense art and his sensitivity towards spirit sense, he wouldn't have noticed it. This person's spirit sense was like a cold flame, very similar to sword sense. Moreover, Ning Fan couldn't keep his spirit sense calm for 3 days, his heart was as still as water. This state of mind wasn't enough to achieve this. Jie Xiu's heart was already dead. To cultivate this state of mind, one must have a dead heart. If one wanted to die, one must have experienced the coldness of the world. Liangbao Palace. This palace had an extraordinary meaning. Rumor had it that the old ancestor of Han Yi sect, Jie Zichui, established a country for the great Jin ancestor. However, he was buried and eventually burned to death by the great Jin ancestor. The coldness of the world was none other than the great Jin ancestor. Great Jin had a dead heart, none other than Han Yi. Dead heart. These 2 words seemed to be the reason why Jie Xiu's spirit sense couldn't be hidden from him. There were some insights that were floating in front of him, but he couldn't grasp them. As he pondered, the crowd passed through the bustling city. The further they went, the quieter it became. The surroundings became colder and colder as they went deeper into the forbidden area. Rays of formation light and cold air came and went. Every 10 li, the cold air would become stronger. In the deepest part of the forbidden area, an ice mountain appeared strangely. The ice light was blue in color. It was hollowed out and built into a palace called Liangbao. Other than a few elders of Han Yi sect, no one could enter this palace. Even the disciples who guided them didn't dare to enter. "You can leave now." A hoarse voice came from inside the palace. "Yes." At the same time, the Gold Core Realm cultivators felt as if they were being probed. Except for Ning Fan, even Suqiu, and Jingzhua, the old ancestor's body shuddered. As for Jingzhua, he was already half a step into the nascent soul realm and he cultivated fire. His heart was shaken by the divine sense that was extinguished like a cold flame. Cold perception, what a strange cold perception. Rumor has it that once the cultivators of the Han Yi sect enter the nascent soul realm, they would be able to cultivate the cold sense. There was even a late nascent soul realm ancestor who developed the cold sense. The frigid sense was naturally a type of the sea of knowledge. In the past, the nascent soul stage cultivator of the Han Yi sect was able to develop the frigid sense because he had obtained a great opportunity. With the help of the strange frigid sense, he could even fight against a cultivator at the peak of the nascent soul stage. Ning Fan was not surprised as he had already witnessed Jie Xiu's abilities. After being invited by the people in the palace, he followed them into Liangbao Palace. The palace was empty except for a bald old man in ragged clothes. His eyes were sunken and he was probably 2,000 years old. Both of his eyes seemed to be blind. However, when he looked at everyone with his eye sockets, all of them, except for Ning Fan, felt a little flustered. This was the fear they felt when facing a senior figure. As for Ning Fan, he could sense the emptiness in the old man's eyes even more clearly. At this moment, he had an illusion that what was staring at him was not the old man's blind eyes but the entire ice palace. This person was the master of the Han Yi sect, Jie Xiu. His gaze swept across everyone but stopped on Ning Fan. He could not see through this kid's background in the past 3 days. Today, he borrowed the cold power of Liangbao Palace, but he still could not see through him. As such, he could only wait for that person to come personally. "Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, nice to meet you." Jie Xiu cupped his fists towards Ning Fan but more of his cold perception secretly swept towards Ning Fan. "Nice to meet you." I will be relying on fellow Taoists to help me join the cultivation guard. Ning Fan smiled faintly and released all of his sword sense. A black light shone and shattered the cold perception. This seemingly casual strike was, in fact, a battle of consciousness between Jie Xiu and Ning Fan at full force. However, the result was that Jie Xiu's cold perception was much weaker than Ning Fan's. The other old monsters only saw a flash of black light and did not know what happened. As for Jie Xiu, although he was shocked, he acted as if nothing had happened and started to carry out his duties. He formed his nascent soul when he was 900 years old and had cultivated cold perception for more than 1,000 years. However, his cold perception was instantly shattered by Ning Fan's black sword sense. This Zhou Ming actually has sword sense. Moreover, the sword chi in his sword sense was very terrifying. Fellow Taoists, this old Taoist is deeply grateful for coming to my great Jin to help us eliminate the demon tide. According to the usual practice, you will need to make a great vow of Heart's Devil on the Spirit Appraisal Stone and consume the tracking pill. After that, you will be sent to the War Division or the Defense Division to carry out missions and obtain battle merits. Jie Xiu pointed his finger and a gap of 10 meters appeared on the frozen ground. A 10 meters long ice stone was enveloped by cold mist and flew out from the ground. This ice stone was called the Spirit Appraisal Stone. It could determine the cultivation base and cultivation technique of experts above Gold Core Realm. Its quality was very different from those stones used to identify vein opening realm cultivators. It was hard to find out the background of a cultivator who joined the Jin Guard. Therefore, Jie Xiu would not ask about the background and intentions of the cultivators who joined the Jin Guard. Only by determining the cultivation base and cultivation technique of the cultivator could one know the background of the cultivator. After making a great vow of Heart's Devil, if the person did anything bad to the Great Jin Guard, his Heart's Devil would be born. As for the tracking pill, it was a middle-grade third revolution pill. Its effect was to determine the location of the person who consumed the pill within a certain period of time through a special formation plate. Therefore, no matter where these cultivators went in Jin country, they would not be able to hide from the great vow of Heart's Devil. The reason why many cultivators refused to join the cultivation guard at the border was not only because they were afraid of the demon tide. Perhaps many of them had designs on the Jin nation, so they would not make the great vow of the heart demon, nor would they take the locating pill. However, since Ning Fan and the others had agreed to join the great vow of Heart's Devil, they would not object to these basic precautions. Each of the old monsters had their cultivation bases tested. When it was Ning Fan's turn, all of them craned their necks. Jie Xiu, in particular, was slightly nervous. He went through a lot of trouble and personally came to investigate Ning Fan's background. However, he failed to do so 3 times with his cold sense. He could only use the Spirit Appraisal Stone to probe Ning Fan's background. Jing Zhua and Yin Suqiu's faces were filled with worry. Yin Suqiu was especially worried about Ning Fan. It was not because she was worried that Ning Fan's cultivation base would be exposed. Even if his half-step Gold Core Realm cultivation base was exposed, it would not be a big deal. What she was most worried about was Ning Fan's cultivation method. Ning Fan cultivated the dual cultivation devil technique. It would be even more difficult for a devil cultivator to join the Great Jin country's cultivation guard. If Ning Fan cultivated the dual cultivation devil technique shamelessly, would he arouse Jie Xiu's hostility? After all, the sect master of Hani sect was an old ancestor of the righteous path. The two's worries were unnecessary. Even if Ning Fan's cultivation method was exposed, Jie Xiu would only feel disdain, but he would not reject Ning Fan's help. It was even more impossible for him to eliminate the devil and defend the Tao at this crucial moment. The king of Jin led 14 nascent soul realm cultivators and 17 divine envoys of the Rain Palace, but they still could not quell the demon tide in Great Jin. Now, Ning Fan could be said to be a crucial combat force. So what if he was a devil cultivator? So what if he was shameless? Ning Fan placed his palm on the Spirit Appraisal Stone and closed his eyes. Even though it was not a big deal to expose his cultivation method, it would still be troublesome. The yin-yang devil veins in his body circulated the snow-treading art. Immediately, the spirit appraisal stone emitted an endless icy light. After he secretly infused his sense power into the stone, a ray of black light rose from the icy light. The light was countless times brighter than before, reaching the level of an early nascent soul realm cultivator. How could this be? Suchio's cherry lips slightly opened, feeling puzzled. However, Jia Xiu felt relieved. Ice Spirit Cultivation Method, Early Nascent Soul Realm. It seems that fellow Daoist's cultivation is not stable yet. You should have formed your nascent soul realm not long ago. However, I didn't expect fellow Daoist to be an ice spirit cultivator. Pardon me. Jia Xiu cupped his fists towards Ning Fan. This time, half of his wariness towards Ning Fan was gone. As for the black light, Jia Xiu thought that it was because of Ning Fan's sword sense. Jia Xiu chuckled as he felt relieved. He monitored the Gold Core Realm cultivators and swore the Heart Devil Oath one by one. After that, he distributed the location locating pills to the Gold Core Realm cultivators. After Ning Fan consumed the pills without hesitation, he felt relieved. He swore the Heart Devil Oath and ate the location locating pills. If Ning Fan forcefully attacked Great Jin, he would suffer the backlash of the Heart Devil. In this case, he could finally be at ease. The last thing he did was to distribute the Merit Jade to everyone, a jade plate that recorded their battle merits. In the end, everyone was assigned to their respective destinations. Currently, Great Jin was invaded by demons and the people were plunged into misery and suffering. The demons used the Dragon Dream Swamp as their base and expanded their territory to millions of li. They occupied 1/3 of Great Jin's territory in the northwest. The reason why there was a demon tide was because the old monsters of the demon race had built strongholds in many places. They used a secret technique to turn the birds and beasts into demons. In an instant, there were 100,000 demon soldiers wreaking havoc in Great Jin. For this reason, while defending the border cities, there was also a need for a combat division to take the initiative to eliminate the demon strongholds and stop the demon soldiers from breeding. The battle merits of the defense division depended on the cities they guarded. Cultivators were divided into 3 levels according to their cultivation realm. The cities were divided into low, middle and high levels according to the degree of danger. The higher the level, the more dangerous the city would be. It would be attacked by the demon race more often and the defense would be more dangerous. An early Gold Core Realm cultivator would get 100 battle merits a month for guarding a low-level city. The battle merits would be doubled if their cultivation realm increased by a small realm. The battle merits would be doubled if the city's danger level increased by 1 level. With Yin Suchio's peak Gold Core Realm cultivation, she would get 800 battle merits if she guarded a low-level city for a month. If she guarded a high-level city, she would get 3,200 battle merits a month. If Ning Fan was an early nascent soul realm cultivator, he would get 6,400 battle merits a month. It would only take him 1.5 years to accumulate 100,000 battle merits. Great Jin's battle merits could be exchanged for Immortal Jade. However, Immortal Jade could not be exchanged for battle merits. 100,000 battle merits was equivalent to 100,000 Immortal Jade. To Yin Suchio, guarding a high-level city would give her 38,400 battle merits a year, which could be exchanged for 40,000 Immortal Jade. Of course, there would be constant consumption of magical treasures, pills and even life-threatening danger. Even if she threw away half of the Immortal Jade, she would still get 20,000 per year. This amount of battle merits was not a small amount. However, it was exchanged with her life. You would never know when a nascent soul realm old demon would attack the city and kill you. To Ning Fan, the danger was secondary. Even if he was guarding the most dangerous border city, he would still need to spend 1.5 years to accumulate enough battle merits. Now, he only wanted to break through to the peak spirit severing realm as soon as possible. Why would he waste his time here? 1.5 years. As such, he could only join the war division. The battle merits were calculated by the number of people killed in the war division. Vein opening realm demons were worth 1 battle merit per demon. Harmonious spirit realm demons were worth 100 battle merits. 2,000 gold core realm demons and 100,000 nascent soul realm demons. He only needed to kill one nascent soul realm demon to accumulate enough battle merits. Even if he couldn't, he could kill 100 harmonious spirit realm demons with his sword sense. That would be 10,000 battle merits. It wouldn't take long for him to accumulate 100,000 battle merits. He could even help Jingzhua and Yin Suqiu gather enough battle merits. Jingzhua and Yin Suqiu had the strength of an old ancestor. They wanted to join the war division, but Ning Fan suggested them to join the defense division. Ning Fan was only prepared to enter the war division alone. There was no need for the two of them to take the risk. Spirit Severing Realm Demon General. The war division was dangerous. Ning Fan even had a premonition that the demon tide was just a delaying tactic of the demon race. They seemed to be waiting for something. Once the wait was over, even a nascent soul realm cultivator would find it hard to protect himself if he ventured into the hinterland of the demon race. Ning Fan was an exception. He had many trump cards with him. With the power of two demon generals, he might not be able to fight against those below the spirit severing realm unless he encountered the demon general himself. However, he would still be able to escape. Wang Yang, Early Gold Core Realm. Join the defense division and guard a low-grade cultivation city, E-City, Qin Wu, Late Gold Core Realm. Join the war division. And, he's quite courageous, Jingzhua, Half-Step Nascent Soul Realm. Join the defense division and guard a mid-grade cultivation city, Zhu Shanguan, Yin Suqiu, Peak Gold Core Realm. Join the defense division and guard a mid-grade cultivation city, Zhu Shanguan. It's a pity that she didn't join the war division. Xiao Zhe, Wen Zhu Zi, one by one, the Gold Core Realm cultivators left the giant hall and returned to the inn after being organized into the cultivation guards. It was Ning Fan's idea that Jingzhua and Yin Suqiu chose to guard a mid-grade cultivation city. Jingzhua was happy to not take the risk. However, Yin Suqiu started to look for trouble again. It's fine if she doesn't want to join the war division. It's fine if she wants to guard a mid-grade cultivation city. How can she do that? Jin Country needs her help. She couldn't change Ning Fan's mind. She was slightly dissatisfied and chose the most dangerous place in the mid-grade cultivation city, Zhu Shanguan. In the end, she didn't want to wait for the demon tide to end. However, Jie Xiu didn't give Ning Fan a chance to choose even after everyone had left. Only Ning Fan and Jie Xiu were left in the giant hall. It was silent. Ning Fan frowned and took the initiative to speak. Fellow Daoist Jie, I'm willing to join the war division. Please introduce me to you, hee. There's no hurry. There's no hurry. Let's wait for a while more. Who are we waiting for? Ning Fan raised his brows and became vigilant. He actually had to wait for the recruitment of the defense division. Was it because Jie Xiu couldn't decide where he would go? Or, did he have other plans? The human heart was unpredictable and he had to be cautious. However, he wasn't afraid of Jie Xiu's tricks since he had the demon general's attack. Both of them closed their eyes and waited. However, Ning Fan's mind seemed to be stretched into a straight line. As long as Jie Xiu made any unusual move, he would immediately regret it. A few hours later, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. Jie Xiu also slowly opened his eyes. Hee. Fellow Daoist Xiu, you've been waiting for a long time. He's here, who? All of a sudden, Ning Fan felt a strong sense of danger. A middle-aged man wearing a black dragon robe slowly appeared in front of Jie Xiu. He had a short beard and eagle-like eyes. He looked majestic even when he wasn't angry. Ning Fan's spirit sense couldn't detect any trace of him when he appeared. He only opened his eyes because he sensed danger. The place where this person stood was filled with an imposing aura. When Ning Fan met his eyes seemed to flash with a golden light. Immediately, the golden light entered his body and went into his mind, causing Ning Fan's mind to ache. He couldn't help but want to take a step back to avoid the sharp light. However, he gritted his teeth and didn't take a step back. I can't take a step back. Taking a step back is equivalent to surrendering. As for the golden light, it would grow stronger and stronger, killing him from the inside out. Break! The sword sense in his body twisted and shattered the golden light that went into his mind. His breath was slightly chaotic. His eyes were gloomy as he stared coldly at Jie Xiu and the black-robed man. You're the king of Jin. Yes. I'm patrolling in the south and I'm not far from here. I heard that a nascent soul realm fellow Daoist has joined the cultivation guard. That's why I'm here to take a look. Those gold core realm cultivators are nothing but ants in my eyes. I initially thought that you're the only one in the southern lock boundary who could make me pay attention and give me special treatment. Unexpectedly, I'm greatly disappointed. You're just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, pretending to be a nascent soul realm cultivator and plundering Wei country. But in my eyes, I can see through your disguise. Humph. Jie Xiu. I'll remember this for your poor judgment of people. You can't even tell if the other party is a nascent soul realm cultivator or a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. The man's words carried the aura of a superior monarch. The magical power of a late nascent soul realm expert made the entire hall tremble slightly. Jie Xiu's face was filled with fear. King of Jin. Jie Xiu was stunned. He invited the King of Jin here to probe Ning Fan's background. He claimed that Ning Fan was a nascent soul realm cultivator and had the intention to join the cultivation guard. However, Ning Fan's thoughts were not pure and he needed the King of Jin to recruit him personally. That was why the King of Jin went to great lengths to come to Tsiua City. But Ning Fan, who Jie Xiu was so afraid of, was he just a harmonious spirit realm junior? A harmonious spirit realm cultivator that could rob Wei country? A nascent soul realm spirit sense? It can't be, but the King of Jin wouldn't be wrong. The King of Jin's golden eye technique would never be wrong. He was confused. He never expected that things would turn out like this. However, the King of Jin said indifferently after looking at Ning Fan for a few breaths. Even though you're a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, your strength is indeed extraordinary. A silver bone realm cultivator is enough to rob a mere Wei country. Do you want to join the cultivation guard and use the immemorial teleportation formation? That's right. Ning Fan was not afraid at all. A late nascent soul realm cultivator might be strong, but he had a trump card that could severely injure this person. I'm a man of my word. I've given an order that only gold core realm cultivators can join the cultivation guard. This promise has nothing to do with my Dao heart. It's not that I can't break my promise, but I want to see if you have the qualifications to make me break my promise. I'll give you a chance to attack me with all your strength. Let me see if your means are enough to move me. If your means are only silver bone, then I don't need it. Furthermore, I might consider you as an accomplice of the demon race and kill you just because of the trace of demon blood in your bloodline. The king's eyes flashed and his body shone with silver light. He even pointed out that Ning Fan's body had awakened a trace of feather demon blood. This person was not only a late nascent soul realm old monster, but also a second realm silver bone body refinement cultivator. This person wanted to test Ning Fan's strength. If he couldn't satisfy him, then he would be erased. Demon blood was a hidden danger. Show me your full strength. Let me see if you're useful to my great Jin. Ning Fan didn't answer. There was a trace of unyielding will boiling in his heart. That golden eye mystic ability had enraged him. If he couldn't resist it or take a step back, he would die under the golden light. So what if he's a late nascent soul realm cultivator? So what? It's not enough to erase me. This person wants to test me. Fine. I'll fulfill his wish. Ice shatter. He roared and punched the ice, freezing heaven and earth. But before the ice could form, the king's eyes were filled with disappointment as he crushed it with his finger. Ice shards fell. If this is all you have, I can't let you live. Ice shatter. Ning Fan punched again, freezing heaven and earth. This technique is useless against me, is that so? Then what about this? At this moment, the lightning star on Ning Fan's glabella flashed and the heaven and earth thundered. For the first time, the king's expression changed. Chapter 170. This was the first time the king had seen such an item. He immediately knew that Ning Fan possessed an immemorial divine vein. Moreover, this vein had been cultivated to the point where it condensed into a star. The most unbelievable thing was that this star was actually the lightning star, possessing the innate talent of controlling lightning. The king's heart skipped a beat, but his expression was still as calm as an ancient well. Divine lightning star. With this star, you will be able to stay in my great gene. He was still talking to himself like a high and mighty king. However, Ning Fan only sneered. This isn't all I have. Fall. The roof of the giant hall was shattered by the falling lightning, striking the king. The king's expression darkened. He never expected that a mere harmonious spirit realm cultivator would dare to attack him even after he had given the order. As the lightning fell, it immediately turned into streaks of electric current and entered the king's body, causing his qi to be slightly chaotic. However, he shook his magical power and forcefully dispersed the lightning. Tea Flower Lady and Feng Xian Lady, who were early nascent soul realm cultivators, couldn't disperse this lightning, but the king was a late nascent soul realm cultivator, which was worlds apart from the two demons. However, as soon as he dispersed the lightning, his expression immediately changed. Ning Fan had already teleported and arrived in front of him with a fist that was covered in icy light. A punch was mercilessly thrown. Ice shatter. Humph, the combination of this punch and the falling lightning was so close that the king had no time to use his magical treasure and could only receive it with his body. He let out a muffled groan as Ning Fan's fist landed on his body. He retreated 100 zhang back with his qi and blood churning, but he didn't seem to be injured. The defense of this man's body wasn't any weaker than the black corpse. Ning Fan's knuckles were on the verge of breaking due to the recoil of the punch. After 100 zhang back, the king suddenly stepped on the ground and stopped retreating. The golden light in his eyes strangely turned into a dark golden color and said coldly, "Tyrannical technique, 10 tokens." In an instant, a sense of danger emerged in Ning Fan's heart again. When the king's fist collided, a black fist light that could tear apart everything shook violently. Immediately, the bones in Ning Fan's arms were on the verge of breaking and the force reached his chest. His eyes were filled with shock and he immediately retreated. As he was retreating, King Jin's fist light turned into a huge black wave. Immediately, it split into 10 waves that carried a domineering aura and rushed towards Ning Fan at a terrifying speed. Immediately, they caught up with Ning Fan and turned into black waves, engulfing him. Tyrannical technique, tyrannical technique. If the golden light from before was the art of the emperor, then the fist that commanded the world was the art of domination. This king of Jin doesn't have the primordial fiend god veins. However, this person regards the Tao of monarch as the ruler, the art of monarch as the technique, the great Jin as the country and the nascent soul realm as his subjects. This person's Tao is a bit terrifying. If this person broke through to the soul formation stage, his divine decree would definitely be extraordinary. Not to mention that King Jin was a late nascent soul realm cultivator whose cultivation base far surpassed Ning Fan. Even if he was an early nascent soul realm cultivator, he would still be stronger than the black corpse. Ning Fan would find it hard to defeat him. In this black wave, there was a trace of aura that made Ning Fan feel irresistible. That aura was that of a monarch, and he was a subject. That aura was that of an immortal, while he was a mortal. That aura was one of respect, and he was one of inferiority. The hierarchy was inviolable. After being submerged by the black waves, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the jade slip of the demon general's attack. I can't win. If I don't use my trump card, I will be torn apart by the black wave. However, he was hesitating. Ning Fan found it hard to accept that he was weaker than King Jin. Half-step gold core realm and late nascent soul realm were two great realms apart. This insurmountable feeling made Ning Fan sober up. He could rely on his trump cards to fight to the death with a nascent soul realm cultivator, but his true strength was far from a nascent soul realm cultivator and a late nascent soul realm cultivator. By crushing the jade slip, one could borrow the attack of a soul formation cultivator to break through the black waves. If another one was broken, it might even severely injure the king. However, this was someone else's strength. He won by trickery, and he was still inferior to King Jin. Luo Yu's Joss Flame Sword helped him destroy the Heaven Beast School. The sword sheath of the female sword ancestor had helped him block Moksha Emperor's attack. Now, when facing King Jin, he still needed to borrow the Demon General's attack in order to resist. As such, what I rely on is the Tao of others. What does my Tao amount to? This wave is only one realm higher than my body refining technique. The reason why I feel that I can't resist it is because I'm afraid before the battle even begins. Once I'm afraid, this black wave will become even fiercer. I've seen through King Jin's technique. Be it the golden eyes or the black wave, they're all using momentum to intimidate others. The more you're afraid, the more powerful this technique will be. This is the Tao of a king. At this moment, Ning Fan kept the jade slip with battle intent in his eyes. Grudges were to be put aside. Cultivation was no longer important. In his eyes, there were only layers of black waves. When his heart was as calm as water, these black waves were no longer terrifying. The second realm of silver bone body refining technique was only one realm higher than him. There was no respect or inferiority, that's all. King Jin was the king, the heaven, and the venerated. Ning Fan was the servant, the earth, and the inferiority. But this inferiority could be reversed. This was the heart to defy the heavens. Ice shatter. A punch was thrown with unyielding will. The first layer of the black wave turned into ice and shattered. Outside the black wave, King Jin's expression changed. His tyrannical technique was actually broken by a mere harmonious spirit realm cultivator. But what he didn't expect was that the second and third layer of the black wave were shattered one after another. 3 layers. Even an early nascent soul realm cultivator could only withstand 3 layers. I've underestimated this kid. With such strength, you can make an exception and become the commander of Great Jin as a foreign cultivator. King Jin said sternly. His golden eyes moved and immediately noticed that Ning Fan had reached his limit after breaking 3 layers of the black wave. Each layer of the wave was 3 times stronger than the previous one. The 4th layer was already twice as strong as the first layer. This kid is extraordinary, but he can't withstand the 4th layer. Your Majesty, please help. Jie Xiu cupped his fists and requested. This person has such strength and will be of great use to Great Jin. I'll withdraw this technique now. King Jin inherited the harsh and ungrateful personality of his ancestor. If Ning Fan was useless to Great Jin and might be a spy of the demon race, he could be killed. If Ning Fan was of great use to Great Jin, even if he was from the demon race, King Jin was confident that he could make Ning Fan yield to him. This was the Tao of King Jin. Just as he was about to withdraw the wave, he was shocked. The 4th layer of the black wave was shattered. The 5th layer was also shattered. Only mid-nascent soul realm cultivators can withstand the 5th layer. How is this kid going to withstand it? King Jin looked at Ning Fan through the black wave with his golden eyes and his expression immediately changed. So that's how it is. This madman. With an unyielding heart, Ning Fan broke 3 waves in a row. But this was indeed his limit. However, he still hadn't decided to use the Demon General's attack. He wanted to use his own method to break this wave. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out dozens of 2nd and 3rd grade cold qi and crushed them. 2 types of 4th grade cold qi were also taken out and crushed. These cold qi were obtained from the storage pouch he seized many times. To him, they were dispensable. But at this moment, they were extremely useful as the ice-shattering fist. His black pupils remained calm as if crushing these natural treasures was not a big deal. Scenes of coldness circled around his body and turned into fist auras, causing the fourth and fifth layers of the black waves to freeze and shatter. Not enough, not enough. His eyes fell on the burning blood pills in the storage pouch and his eyes flashed. This black wave was a threat but also a benefit. This black wave was the perfect place for him to vent his killing intent. A bottle of 10 burning blood pills was swallowed just like that. The pain of burning his blood drowned him, but he remained indifferent. His body turned into a 9 zhang and 9 qi tall avatar in the giant wave. But under the effect of the burning blood pills, his giant avatar broke through the peak of the second level of the Colossal Bone's secret art and entered the third level. But soon, the violent killing intent contained in the 10 burning blood pills engulfed Ning Fan. After reaching 10 zhang, the strength of his fist increased by 30%. His fist fell and the killing intent turned into fist light. When it came into contact with the black wave, it melted and the 6th and 7th waves were crushed. 7 layers of waves. The king was slightly shocked. Only a cultivator at the second level of the Silver Bone realm could destroy so many waves. What was even more unbelievable was that Ning Fan was able to break through the realm of his cultivation technique with the help of the black wave. 7 layers, that's enough. This time, you will be promoted to the 7th commander, after joining the cultivation guards. I will only let you stay in Jin for 10 years. All your cultivation needs will be satisfied. 7th commander. Other than the king, there were a total of 14 nascent soul realm cultivators in Jin. But only 7 of them were mid-nascent soul realm. These 7 people were called the 7th commander. However, one of the mid-realm cultivators had perished in the demon tide. This matter shocked many cultivators of Jin. Even the king was distressed. Losing a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator was the reason why he personally patrolled Jin. Firstly, he wanted to fill the position of the person who had lost his position. Secondly, he wanted to search for a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator to assist Jin in eliminating the demons. Unfortunately, he found a few early nascent soul realm cultivators in other entrances and they were all recruited by the king. However, there was no mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. This time, Jie Xiu claimed that there was a nascent soul cultivator, but he couldn't see through it. Upon hearing this, the king of Jin immediately rushed over in the night. He knew that Jie Xiu's talent was only above average, but his cold sense was extraordinary. No one in the early nascent soul realm could hide from his cold sense. King Jin naturally thought that Zhou Ming, who came to the state of Jin from Wei, would be a mid-stage nascent soul realm cultivator. He even prepared a great gift to invite him. But in the end, not only was this person not at the mid-nascent soul realm, he wasn't even at the early nascent soul realm. He wasn't even at the gold core realm. He was only at the harmonious spirit realm. Moreover, this harmonious spirit realm expert had demon blood in his body. He was suspected of colluding with the demon race. King Jin was naturally enraged. His first move was a killing move. He used the golden light in his eyes to strangle Ning Fan. However, to his surprise, Ning Fan was able to see through the secret of the golden light and used his sword sense to block it. Sword sense. King Jin didn't know if this sword sense was strong or weak, but after a careful examination, he found out that Ning Fan was a silver bone expert. Therefore, he held back 70% of his killing intent and wanted to test Ning Fan to see if he was worth recruiting. The king didn't care about the ice-shattering fist, but the lightning star could restrain the demon race. He was willing to borrow some of Ning Fan's strength. However, he didn't expect that Ning Fan still dared to attack him after he agreed to let him join the cultivation. King Jin was infuriated and used the 10 tokens to attack Ning Fan, but he had other thoughts in his mind. This black wave was just to teach Ning Fan a lesson for being disrespectful. If Ning Fan couldn't withstand it, he would save him. However, he didn't expect that Ning Fan not only broke the black wave, but also broke 7 layers. Although this kid was only a harmonious spirit realm expert, his true combat strength was enough to make an intermediate nascent soul realm cultivator fear him. He could fill the position of the 7th commander. Ning Fan sneered again in the black wave. I don't want the 7th commander. I don't care about cultivation resources. 3 months. I will only fight for Jean for 3 months. After 3 months, I will use the immemorial teleportation formation to leave. 3 months? That's too short. Really? Ning Fan's 10 zhang tall body revealed a determined expression. He took out 20 burning blood pills and chewed them. Under the pressure of the black wave, his colossal bone's secret arts immediately broke through the second realm of the 3rd level. His 10 zhang tall body grew to 12 zhang tall. Break, break, break. Under the light of the fist, killing intent was released. 10 waves were broken. At this moment, the king's eyes were filled with shock. Jie Xiu's dim eyes were filled with shock. Among the 7 commanders, there are only 3 people who are able to break through your majesty's 10 waves. One of them, the water commander Sun Ri, even died in the demon tide. This person can be put in an important position. Your Majesty, you must make use of this person's strength. But the king didn't say a word. 3 months. I will only kill the demons for Great Jean for 3 months. After 3 months, I will leave. Ning Fan retracted his avatar with a stern expression. His palm was placed on his storage pouch. There was a blood-red jade slip that he could take out at any time to protect himself. If the king still didn't agree, he would use the teleportation formation to leave by hook or by crook. Unexpectedly, the king didn't even look at Jie Xiu. He only stared at Ning Fan. Good. 3 months. Ning Fan said coldly. He left the ice palace and returned to the inn. He didn't use the demon general's attack to injure the king. This person attacked him. But as the king of Great Jean, injuring him would have a huge impact. Now that he was traveling with Suqiu and Jing Zhua, even if he used the name Zhou Ming and the identity of the All-Heaven Relic, if he injured the king, the nascent soul realm subordinates of the king would definitely take revenge. If they found out that he was in Yu country, then, Ning Fan didn't like the feeling of not being able to take revenge and being angry, but he had no other choice. Even if he used the demon general's attack, he felt that he could injure the king but not kill him. I have a trump card to protect myself, but this person doesn't have one. This king might have more spirit-severing realm attacks than me. A late nascent soul realm expert was stronger than me. Just a single body refining technique without using his full strength was enough to make Ning Fan use everything he had to resist it. The king didn't use any magical treasures, late nascent soul realm magical power or spirit-severing realm magical techniques. I'm not as good as him. But this is only temporary. Soon, I will form my gold core, nascent soul and spirit-severing realm. On that day, I will use my own strength to let the king know how powerful I am. Definitely. Definitely. After Ning Fan left, Jie Xiu heaved a sigh of relief. Even though there were some twists and turns today, Ning Fan had satisfied the king. In this way, his crime of negligence could be pardoned. Congratulations, Your Majesty, for obtaining a new commander. Even though this person is only willing to serve Great Jean for 3 months, but according to the rumors of the Rain Palace, the day of the final battle will be within these few months. Jie Xiu congratulated. But what he didn't expect was that the king's face suddenly turned pale. He spurted out a mouthful of black blood that had traces of gold. His qi became rather weak. Congratulations. Humph. Congratulations on my injury. What? How did you get injured? Jie Xiu was shocked. Do you know why I allowed this person to leave after serving me for 3 months? 3 months. Fortunately, it's 3 months. After this child broke the 10 waves, I was fortunate to find out that this child is actually a wolf with wild ambitions. He's difficult to subdue and control. Leaving this child in Great Jean for 10 years is basically a great calamity. There are 2 qi on this child's body. After he broke the waves, I realized that the qi made me feel a trace of danger. It must be a spirit-severing realm attack. This child has the intention to kill me. Do you know? The king suppressed his injuries and smiled bitterly for the first time in his life. If he had used a spirit-severing realm attack to break the black waves, it would have been fine. In that case, I wouldn't be injured even if my magic technique was broken. This child, with his untamed Tao heart, broke the overlord intent in my magic technique. The magic technique that I cultivate is too unique. Victory or defeat in a battle is determined by a single thought. If I win with a single thought, my might will be unparalleled. If I lose with a single thought, my entire clan will be annihilated. This child used the heart of a rebellious subject to break my monarch intent. It's truly hateful. However, he is qualified to be the commander of this demon extermination mission. Among the cultivators of Great Gene, excluding the Rain Palace's branch palace, he's the only one who can break my monarch intent and injure me. Furthermore, this child's cultivation base is only at the half-step gold core realm. If I'm not mistaken, once this child forms his nascent soul, even if his cultivation base is only at the early nascent soul realm, he'll still be able to fight against me. Gene country can't keep such a person. Immemorial divine vein. I really wonder which fiend god inheritance gave birth to such a person. The king's eyes were locked and his face was expressionless once again. As for Jie Xiu, he couldn't calm down after listening to the king's words. That Zhou Ming is actually so powerful. Once he breaks through to the early nascent soul realm, he'll even be able to fight against a late nascent soul realm cultivator like the king. Jie Xiu, inform the others that my patrolling duties will be temporarily suspended. I'm going to the cold pond to recuperate and rebuild my overlord intent. As for Zhou Ming, pass this storage pouch to him later. There are some gifts inside as compensation for the conflict this time. Perhaps, after seeing these things, his hostility towards me will be slightly dispelled and he'll do his best to help me. The king handed a golden storage pouch to Jie Xiu and disappeared with a sway of his figure. As soon as Jie Xiu opened the storage pouch, a cold thought flashed through his blind eyes. It was hard for him to calm down. His Majesty is actually giving this item to Zhou Ming as compensation. A trace of cold qi quietly spread out from the storage pouch. This is the item that made the deceased commander Sun Ri famous. However, Jie Xiu immediately understood why the king would give this item to Zhou Ming. There's also Chapter 171. He was also suppressing his injuries. 3 days later, he was finally able to force out a mouthful of blood with a trace of black. That black color was left behind by the monarch gene tyrannical technique. At this point, he could finally heave a sigh of relief. When his reputation spread in Siwa City, many Golden Core cultivators of Gene Nation immediately came to visit him, but he rejected them with the excuse that he was in seclusion. Those who were unwilling to leave were left to Jingzhua. In the courtyard, he lay on a rattan chair, basking in the sun that he had not seen for a long time, listening to the sound of the flute. Yin Suqiu knitted her brows tightly. When she saw Ning Fan forcing out the black blood, how could she not know that he was injured? Ning Fan did not have this kind of injury before. It was left behind when he and Jie Xiu were alone after the Gold Core Realm cultivators left. Gene Nation cultivators, you're going too far. You were kind enough to help the Gene Nation exterminate the demons, yet they dared to hurt you. No, I'm going to reason with them. Suqiu couldn't calm herself down. She put down the flute and wanted to look for Jie Xiu. However, her hand was held by Ning Fan. It's just a small matter. It doesn't matter. Everything is for the sake of the endless sea. I can tolerate such a small matter. Besides, the reason why I'm helping the Great Gene is different from you. I don't mean well, but... Yin Suqiu gently shook off Ning Fan's hand and stroked her wrist. Her brows were still knitted. Because of him, Ning Fan had already offended Yun Kuang and had a conflict with the Rain Palace. Now, he was on bad terms with Jin Xiu. This time, Ning Fan will join the war division of Great Gene with the identity of a nascent soul realm cultivator, Zhou Ming. He will be fighting at the front line. If there are people plotting against him, he will be in danger. She couldn't help but worry. If Yin Suqiu knew that the one who had a conflict with Ning Fan wasn't Jia Xiu but the Emperor of Jin, she might not be able to remain calm. Play the flute. The sun is shining brightly today. It's a pleasure to have a beauty as my companion and a flute in my ears. Don't let such trivial matters disturb your mood. He closed his eyes, a gentle smile on his lips. His smile gradually calmed Yin Suqiu down. This smile was not a pretense. He really enjoyed the sunshine. Alright, what do you want to hear? How about the song of the Yu people? Accompanied by the sound of the flute, the scenes of the past in Yu country replayed in Ning Fan's mind. I wonder how Jihe and Lan Mei are doing. That little devil girl Bai Lu must be cultivating diligently. Master and little Dugu, have they reached the sword world already? Ning Gu, is he still quarreling with Anran? Haining was still the same as before. That despicable person who had tried to harm him must be very happy now. Who could it be? I don't care. Even old ancestor Hai Ning is nothing in my eyes. That despicable person is just an ant. If I pass by Wu country in the future, I'll just eliminate him with a wave of my hand. Peak spirit severing realm within 100 years. This was Ning Fan's goal, but Ning Fan had decided to erase this goal. After experiencing the battle with King Jin, it was hard for him to calm down. He suddenly realized that he had gradually adapted to his identity as a cultivator. Even without the vengeance of Moksha Sovereign, he was still willing to cultivate the Tao. If he didn't cultivate, he would be bullied by others, just like King Jin's golden killing intent. On the surface, I'm cultivating painstakingly for the battle with Moksha Sovereign. In fact, I just don't want to be bullied, suppressed and coerced by others. This is my true Tao. Vengeance is not. Master must have known about this, that's why he deliberately left Yu country and went to the sword world. Master wants to erase the obsession in my heart and achieve the Tao in my heart. My Tao isn't to rebel but to be unyielding. From a certain point of view, without King Jin's coercion, I'm afraid it would be very difficult for me to realize my true heart. All the heavy stones in his heart were put down one by one. Love, hate, vengeance, all of them were silent. His mind was repeatedly recalling He Lang's feelings when he received King Jin's 10 tokens a few days ago. At that time, Ning Fan was at his purest, without any distracting thoughts, only unyielding. At that time, Ning Fan had a Tao that moved King Jin and destroyed his domineering intent. Only then can I be considered as a cultivator. His eyes flashed. Unknowingly, his mental state had already reached the level of a late gold core realm cultivator. The journey to the 4 countries not only broadened Ning Fan's knowledge but also made his mental state more and more compatible with his identity as a cultivator. Previously, although I was smiling, I wasn't happy. Today, my heart is very relaxed and very happy. Ning Fan's gaze shifted and fell on Yin Suqiu's calm face. The sound of the flute was intoxicating. He suddenly realized that Yin Suqiu was very beautiful from this angle. So beautiful. He couldn't help but praise. Yin Suqiu's face blushed and secretly blamed Ning Fan for being frivolous. However, there was still some sweetness in her heart. A woman would put on makeup for her lover. Ever since she boarded the 7 apricot voyage ship, she had never put on makeup for 600 years. However, after boarding the ship, she put on makeup for Ning Fan every day. Ning Fan's heart was like a rock before and he couldn't see all of this. But now, Ning Fan could see it. I know how to sing the song of you people. You play the flute for me and I'll sing for you. What night is it today? The boat is in the middle of the river. Today, when can I be on the same boat with the prince? Being shamed and loved, I don't regret it. My heart is troubled but it doesn't stop, I know the prince. There are trees on the mountain and branches on the tree, my heart pleases the prince but he doesn't know. He knew how to sing the folk songs of Wu country and Yu country since he was young. This was Yin Suqiu's first time listening to a man singing a folk song seriously. 3 days later, Yin Suqiu, Jingzhua, and the others were escorted by the disciples of the Hani sect. They passed through the Tsiwa city's teleportation formation and headed towards another cultivation city. In the land of the Great Jin, there would be a city of cultivators every 10,000 kilometers. Within the city, there would be a teleportation array that could teleport people 10,000 kilometers away to reinforce other cities. Traveling from the south to the north to reach the front lines would require at least several million kilometers. However, this distance could be covered after passing through several hundred teleportation formations. In about half a month, he was able to travel millions of miles. This kind of speed could only be achieved by divine transformation realm experts. However, each of these teleportation arrays was at the nascent soul realm. Each activation could teleport 100 people, but it would cost at least 10,000 immortal jades. Hundreds of teleportations would cost millions of immortal jades. If it wasn't for the fact that the Jin nation was in trouble this time, they definitely wouldn't use the teleportation array. Moreover, a low-ranked cultivation country wouldn't have the money to maintain and use such formations. Jingzhua and Yin Suqiu went to Jushan Pass. Jushan Pass was a mid-ranked cultivation city. It was rumored that there was a spirit vein of excellent quality there, but it was constantly being attacked by the demon tide. However, with the strength of the two old ancestors, they shouldn't be in danger as long as they didn't force themselves. I hope that troublesome woman won't be impulsive. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. After seeing that he was injured by Jin Xiu, Yin Suqiu's enthusiasm to help the Jin nation would probably be extinguished. After the Gold Core Realm experts left, there were other Gold Core Realm experts that entered the Jin nation through the border and were led to Tsiwa City. To these Gold Core Realm cultivators, Ning Fan was a stranger. They wouldn't know that the person by the window was the ruthless man that shocked Wei country. In the past 10 days, Ning Fan had been in seclusion to stabilize the realm of his burning blood technique. Colossal Bone's secret art, the second realm of the third level, the body of a 12-zhang tall giant. With this strength, Ning Fan was confident that he could defeat Song Yi with just his body technique if he met him again. On the 10th day, Jie Xiu personally came to the inn and shocked all the Gold Core Realm experts. However, Jie Xiu didn't meet anyone but Ning Fan. After a deep conversation, he left behind a storage pouch. Those Gold Core Realm experts were still asking around. After knowing that Ning Fan was old ancestor Zhou Ming, they all came to visit him. However, after Jie Xiu left, Ning Fan rejected all the guests and stayed in the room, silently pondering. Jie Xiu told Ning Fan that this storage pouch was King Jin's apology. He hoped that Ning Fan wouldn't mind King Jin's act of testing him. Testing. If I'm not strong enough, I would have died. It's indeed a test, but it's a test of life and death. Ning Fan didn't think much of it. In the storage pouch, there were 10 bottles of Third Revolution pills. All of them were medicine for injuries and spirit recovery. One of them was a low-grade 4th Revolution pill called Extraordinary Bone Pill. After consuming it, it could stimulate one's potential in a short period of time and forcefully break through to the second realm of the Silver Bone realm. However, after consuming it, the realm would return to its original state. Moreover, this pill seemed to have a significant side effect. However, this pill was still very precious. If it was used in a life or death situation, the effect wouldn't be weak. Other than that, there were 2 low-grade high-grade magical treasures in the storage pouch. It seemed that King Jin knew that Ning Fan's half-step gold core magical strength could only fully activate the power of low-grade high-grade magical treasures. Even if he gave Ning Fan a higher-grade magical treasure, it might not be effective. However, although the grade of these magical treasures wasn't high, their spirit augmentation ability wasn't weak. One of them was the Bluestone Sword with the nascent soul divine ability, Phantom Shadow. The other was the Lan Ling Jade with the Clear Spirit divine ability, Clear Spirit. After wearing it, it could break low-grade nascent soul demonic illusion technique. Other than that, there was also a spirit equipment and a Dao fruit. The Dao fruit was left behind by an intermediate gold core realm cultivator and was considered rare. However, the spirit equipment wasn't as simple as being rare. Silver Profound Harmonious Spirit, gold profound gold core, jade profound nascent soul. This spirit equipment was earth profound spirit equipment that only spirit severing realm cultivators were qualified to use. Earth profound spirit equipment, wind thunder wings. Once this spirit equipment recognized its owner, it could be kept inside the body. When it was used, a pair of wind and thunder wings would appear on the back, and the speed would be comparable to an early nascent soul realm expert. Look carefully, it's speed, not teleportation. Ning Fan could use teleportation. Moreover, the black light teleportation didn't require magical power and only required mental power. It could be used by a harmonious spirit cultivator, but it was impossible to use teleportation to travel continuously. Teleportation was a special ability that could be used in times of emergency. During normal flight, one still needed to fly. Flying required magical power. Ning Fan's magical power was his weakness and his flying speed was pitifully slow, only comparable to an early gold core realm expert. In a battle between nascent soul realm experts, teleportation was enough if it was a head-on battle. However, if it was a battle of pursuit, it might be a chase of 100,000 li. It was impossible for Ning Fan to teleport all the way. Flying was slow and he didn't have much magical power. This would most likely become his fatal weakness. The gift of King Jin's wind thunder wings was very valuable. Although the speed was only early nascent soul realm, one should know that the biggest advantage of spirit equipment was that it didn't consume any magical power. Magical treasures were used by cultivators to inject magical power into their enemies. Spirit equipment, on the other hand, was enchanted with spirit mark secret technique. It was a treasure that borrowed the power of heaven and earth and didn't require any magical power from cultivators. In other words, if Ning Fan could successfully make the wind thunder wings recognize him as its master, he wouldn't only be able to fly at an unparalleled speed, it wouldn't consume any magical power. He wouldn't even need a ship or immortal cloud to fly a long distance. Profound Earth Spirit Equipment. This treasure could be said to be precious even to the King of Jin. However, the last item in the storage pouch made Ning Fan's eyes widen in surprise. He never thought that he would encounter this item in Jin country. He never thought that King Jin would give this item to him, Heavenly Frost Cold Chi, ranked 11th, Cold Pine Marrow. It wasn't ranked 9th, but it was a level stronger than the Bone Prison Breath, Heavenly Frost, only Cold Chi of 5th grade and above was worthy of being called Heavenly Frost. This item was priceless. If this was spread out, many people would be interested in this treasure. Was King Jin giving me such a generous gift to build a good relationship? If it was really good intentions, it wasn't impossible for Ning Fan to erase the misunderstanding between him and King Jin. However, Ning Fan faintly felt that King Jin didn't have good intentions. This flame seemed to be causing trouble for Ning Fan, but what it provoked was the greed of the people hiding in the dark. As his cultivation increased, Ning Fan gradually realized that he couldn't be like the old monster and use the black demon flame everywhere. The old monster could because the big shots of the Rain Immortal World gave him face and didn't dare to snatch it. But Ning Fan was different. In the Rain Immortal World, there were very few people who knew that he was the old monster's disciple. If he casually used the Heavenly Frost and Earth Fire, he would inevitably provoke the enemies hiding in the dark. It was fine to occasionally use the Black Demon Flame in a low-rank cultivation country, but in a mid-rank cultivation country, there were many experts. Even the spirit-severing Demon Flame seemed to be desired by the Black Demon Flame. That was why Ning Fan didn't reveal his fire attribute cultivation method during the cultivation method test. Instead, he revealed his ice attribute cultivation method. He was afraid of exposing the fact that he possessed the Black Demon Flame. Now, King Jin seemed to be afraid that Ning Fan wouldn't provoke any trouble. If this item fell into his hands and King Jin wanted to harm him, he wouldn't keep it a secret. Perhaps, there would be a spirit-severing realm expert coming to ask for the Heavenly Frost Cold Chi from him in no time. Of course, if he obediently handed it over, nothing would happen. On the contrary, he might even gain the favor of the spirit-severing realm expert. But in this way, his Tao heart would be greatly damaged even though he looked unharmed on the surface. My Tao heart is unyielding. If I'm forced to take this item away, then my unyielding will become empty talk. Is this King Jin's objective? Ning Fan's mind raced. It was easy to confirm this matter. He went out of the inn and released his spirit sense, enveloping Tsiua City. Immediately, gossip could be heard from many restaurants and residences. Have you heard? Wei country's old ancestor Zhou Ming has obtained King Jin's approval and became one of the 7 commanders of Great Jin. His replacement is the water commander Sun Ri, who died in the line of duty. Who doesn't know this? You don't know that old ancestor Zhou Ming not only obtained Sun Ri's position, but also Sun Ri's greatest treasure. What? There's such a thing. What treasure is it? Heavenly frost cold chi. Cold pine marrow. Strange. Isn't this item the revered elder of the Rain Palace, revered Snow? Could it be that revered Snow doesn't want it anymore? After withdrawing his spirit sense, Ning Fan's eyes darkened. If King Jin was just doing this out of goodwill, then he would never spread the news after expressing his goodwill and cause trouble for me. From a few words, Ning Fan learned that this cold pine marrow belonged to the former commander, Sun Ri. Revered Snow of the Rain Palace had taken a liking to it. Ning Fan had no idea who Revered Snow was. However, he guessed that he must be a revered elder with a spirit-severing realm cultivation base. Only spirit-severing realm experts could be revered in the Rain Palace. Chapter 172. Under King Jin's command, the order was immediately spread across the entire Great Jin through the 10,000-mile sound transmission stone in every cultivation city. 2 pieces of news, one good and one bad, shook people's hearts. Good news. Revered Snow of the Rain Palace has personally come to the Great Jin to take over the command of the Great Jin's cultivation guards. Bad news. A few days ago, Revered Snow personally went to the center of the demon tide, Longmengza, and returned with injuries. Revered Shengxue was a spirit-severing demon general. Previously, many old monsters had speculated that the rise of the demon horde might be related to the awakening of the demon generals. However, when soul formation demon generals really existed, countless old monsters still panicked. In the center of the demon tide, there was a divine transformation realm demon general. If this demon did not die, the demon tide would never end. Furthermore, this demon was actually able to injure Revered Snow. Could it be that his divine ability was above Revered Snow's? Hope and gloom spread in the state of Jin at the same time. Revered Snow was injured, the demon tide counterattacked, the 3 great cultivation cities were destroyed, and nearly 10,000 Jin dynasty cultivators died tragically. Revered Snow's order, King Jin's order, all Jin Guards commanders are to rush to Dragon Dream Lake's aid. Jie Xiu was shocked when he heard the order. Jin was in trouble and he wanted nothing more than to rush to the northwest of Jin to protect the land of Jin. However, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he waited in the inn for Ho Ningfan to come out of seclusion. Reporting to Sect Master, before Ancestor Zhou Ming went into seclusion, he instructed me to inform Sect Master that he is refining the spirit equipment, which will be of great use in eliminating demons. He asked Sect Master to wait. A disciple of the Hani sect who was working in the inn reported respectfully. Refining spiritual equipment? Could it be that thing? Jie Xiu was blind and emotionless, but the muscles on his face trembled slightly. The spirit equipment that Zhou Ming needed to spend several days to refine, could it be the thunderstorm wings gifted by the King of Jin? Profound Earth spirit equipment, thunderstorm wings. Even King Jin had tried 3 times to control this spirit equipment, but he failed in the end. King Jin once said that unless he breaks through to the spirit-severing realm, he would never be able to refine the profound spiritual equipment into his body. Forming a pair of wings with the wind and lightning was not something that a nascent soul realm cultivator could do. King Jin's gift to Ning Fan might seem like a generous gift, but he never thought that Ning Fan would be able to recognize it as his master. However, as Jie Xiu stood outside Ning Fan's door, he could feel a trace of wind and lightning power that was getting easier and easier to control. This person is really refining the thunderstorm wings, and seems to be about to succeed? How is this possible? Indeed, with Ning Fan's half-step gold core cultivation base, it should be impossible for him to make the profound earth spirit equipment recognize him as its master. But on his path of demonic cultivation, was there any lack of impossible things? It will be difficult for the profound earth spiritual equipment to recognize its master, but why can't I? 7 days ago, Ning Fan said these words and went into seclusion to refine the wind thunder wings. Holding the thunderstorm wings in his hand, Ning Fan closed his eyes and meditated for 3 days. For the past 3 days, he had tried to mobilize his magic power to trigger the 3 spirits of ice, fire and lightning in order to plant a mark on the spirit equipment. However, after dozens of attempts, all of them ended in failure. Every time he planted a mark, the mark would be easily erased by the spirit equipment itself. The spirit had its own spirit. It disdained to let Ning Fan's weak cultivation base to control it. The difficulty of recognizing the owner of the profound earth spiritual equipment was beyond Ning Fan's imagination. The profound earth spiritual equipment was similar to that of a soul formation cultivator. Within this spiritual equipment, there was its own concept, named wind thunder. Moreover, once this spiritual equipment entered the profound earth realm, it would gain a trace of spirituality. Unless one was a soul formation cultivator, they would not be able to control it. It was difficult for ordinary nascent soul realm cultivators to complete the process of recognizing the owner of the profound jade spiritual equipment. Even the late nascent soul realm king would not be able to control it. In the past, when In Suchio's cultivation base was not even at the nascent soul realm, she forcefully recognized the profound jade spiritual equipment as its master. However, she could not control it as she wished. Every time she used her teleportation ability, she would damage herself. That was the price she had to pay. However, it was difficult to refine the thunder wings by force. 3 days of attempts ended in failure. Ning Fan's expression was indiscernible. When he opened his eyes, there was not a hint of disappointment in them. The profound earth spiritual equipment is indeed difficult to refine. If I use all my cultivation base, I might have a 10% chance of refining it by force. However, there is a 90% chance that I will fail and suffer a backlash. It seems like I can't do it. If that's the case, I will seize it by force. With Ning Fan's cultivation base, it was too dangerous to refine it by force. However, he had another way to make the thunder wings recognize him as its master. He took out a scroll. This scroll was imprinted at the place where the ancestor of Wei passed away. It recorded the spirit augmentation technique that the ancestor of Wei was most proficient in, enlightening technique. The enlightening technique of Buddhism was profound and difficult to understand. Ning Fan did not know it and did not intend to spend the effort to learn it. He could not learn the spirit augmentation technique. However, there were a few secret techniques in the enlightening technique that could allow a cultivator to surpass their realm and recognize a spiritual equipment as its master. The sacrifice technique would sacrifice one's blood essence to increase the success rate by 30%. However, this technique would only be effective for the first time. The second time, the effect would be halved, and the third time, it would be ineffective. Killing to achieve Tao, sacrificing oneself to become Buddha. Ning Fan did not think about the Buddhist principles behind it. He only thought about the possibility of this technique. In addition to the sacrifice technique, he would sacrifice his blood essence to have a 40% chance of making the wings recognize him as its master. However, this chance was still small. If he failed the first time, the second time would be even harder and the third time would be even more hopeless. Recognizing the wings as its master was similar to forming a core. Ning Fan must succeed on the first try. He pondered for a long time and finally circulated his demonic power to form a pair of illusory black wings on his back. There is a trace of feather demon blood in my body. Even though the demon blood is thin, I am still a feather demon. How can a feather demon not have wings? If I infuse my demonic power into the wings, I should be able to increase the success rate by 10% based on the affinity of my body towards the wings. If I add the ability of the Imperial Lightning Star, while he was thinking, he triggered the lightning star. Immediately, the lightning power within the wings began to show a trace of fear. With the addition of the lightning star, the success rate will increase by 20%. I have 70% certainty. With the yin-yang locket's absorption power, I have 90% certainty to make the wings recognize me as its master. 90% is enough. Lightning star, black feather, sacrifice technique, yin-yang locket. King Jin might be stronger than Ning Fan, but in terms of means, how many people in the Rain Immortal world could surpass Ning Fan? After putting away the jade slip, Ning Fan bit the tip of his finger and used his blood to draw Sanskrit characters on the wings. This was the secret talisman of the sacrifice technique. After drawing blood on the spiritual equipment, the talisman immediately went deep into the wings as if it was engraved. The moment the talisman was completed, Ning Fan immediately poured all the spiritual power in his immortal veins into the talisman. Each of the talisman immediately turned into a living word and moved on the spiritual equipment. Finally, it condensed into a brand. However, after this brand was infused with Ning Fan's magical power, it immediately showed rejection, as if it wanted to erase this brand. Humph! A mere inanimate object, struggling for nothing. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He pointed his finger at the spiritual equipment with silver lightning. Immediately, the spiritual equipment trembled as if it was crying. Under the influence of Ning Fan's magical power, it turned into silver light and went into Ning Fan's back, fusing with the illusory black feather. The moment the spiritual equipment entered his body, it immediately caused an intense pain and a series of injuries. The pain lasted for 3 days. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and endured it. On one hand, he activated the yin-yang locket, on the other hand, he injected his demonic power into the spiritual equipment in an attempt to control it. In these 3 days, the wings on his back gradually became bigger and bigger. In the end, it turned into a pair of 3 zhang long wings with a strange black and silver color. When he was not moving, lightning flashed. When he flapped his wings, the sound of the wind was loud. Ning Fan wiped the sweat off his forehead, his eyes lit up and smiled. Master recognition, success. He kept his wings. On the last day, he sat cross-legged and constantly circulated the magical power in his body, making the wind thunder wings and his physical body more integrated. His state of mind gradually became calm like an ancient well. What King Jin couldn't do, it doesn't mean that I, Ning Fan, can't do it. Cultivating the Tao, the Tao lies in man's actions. After 7 days of seclusion, Ning Fan didn't seem to have any changes. There were only 2 wind and lightning runes on his back. If he willed it, it could turn into the wind thunder wings. The black hair band was no longer useful and its effect was far inferior to the sense concealment art. The ancient beast wristband wasn't of much use either. It could barely increase the power of the silver bone body, but he still didn't take it. Long black hair, a silver star between his eyebrows, a white robe and a black cloak, a strange black ring on his left wrist. This was Ning Fan's attire. 7 days later, he pushed open the door and smiled at Jie Xiu. He had already sensed Jie Xiu's presence outside the door and guessed that something big must have happened in Jin for Jie Xiu to wait for him personally. Most likely, Jie Xiu wanted to bring him to the cultivation city in the northwest. Fellow Taoist Jie, you don't look too good, it's more than that. How can I stay calm when Jin is facing a crisis? I'd like to hear the details. I will tell fellow Taoist Zhou about this. After all, fellow Taoist Zhou is the 7th commander of Great Jin. Moreover, this matter isn't a secret. But before that, I have a question that I hope fellow Taoist can answer. Oh? If it's not a secret, I might be able to tell you. Please ask away. May I ask if fellow Taoist Zhou has refined the wind thunder wings? Jie Xiu's mind was extremely restless. When he muttered the words wind thunder wings, his body trembled. He dared not imagine that a half-step gold core realm cultivator like Ning Fan could do something that even King Jin couldn't. But all the signs were enough to prove that Ning Fan had indeed refined the wind thunder wings. His expression was tense, but Ning Fan couldn't help but laugh. That's right. I was lucky enough to refine this item. What? Jie Xiu was greatly shocked. Even though he had already expected this, he still found it hard to be confident when he heard Ning Fan admit it with his own ears. Jie Xiu, who had cultivated for 2,000 years, would never believe such nonsense. No wonder King Jin was so fearful of this person. Using the heavenly frost cold chi pine cold marrow to destroy this person's Tao heart. King Jin's foresight was indeed sharp. His cultivation base aside, the fact that he was at the Silver Bone Realm and had received the 10 tokens of King Jin's tyrannical art was enough to shock Jie Xiu. But now, this person, with a harmonious spirit cultivation, had surpassed 3 great realms to refine the thunderstorm wings. This person had indeed concealed his strength well. However, the more he thought so, the more Jie Xiu believed that King Jin's actions were wrong. I shouldn't have given the cold pine marrow to this person. It would have been fine if this person didn't know about King Jin's evil scheme, but if he saw through it, he would have offended King Jin. What good would it do for the Jin nation to offend a ruthless person? Sigh. Jie Xiu heaved a long sigh with a complicated expression. His heart felt even colder. These were the strengths and weaknesses of every King Jin. Farsighted, decisive, narrow-minded, mean and merciless, King Jin's ancestor was able to use Jie Zichui because of his weakness. However, Jie Xiu could not change King Jin, because he was a subject. Jin nation was a true cultivation country with a king and subjects. On the other hand, Rain Palace was an external force. Jie Xiu knew that King Jin's real intention of offending Ning Fan was not only to destroy his Tao heart. More importantly, he wanted to create friction between Ning Fan and revered snow of Rain Palace and make Ning Fan hate Rain Palace. Perhaps in the future, Ning Fan would use this hatred to eliminate the Rain Palace. If the branch of the Rain Palace remains in Jin, it would also be a hindrance to the king of Jin. Even the prophets from the ancient teleportation formation would have to be split with the branch of the Rain Palace, leaving only one. No one is as smart as an emperor, but King Jin should not have offended Ning Fan. Never. Fellow Taoist Shou, I have a request. If you have enmity with King Jin in the future, can you spare the cultivators of Great Jin? Jie Xiu said sternly. He. Fellow Taoist Jie, you must be joking. It was just a misunderstanding between me and King Jin. How could there be enmity and revenge? Why don't you talk to me about the situation in Great Jin first? Ning Fan was smiling, but Jie Xiu could only smile bitterly. This Ning Fan had already hated King Jin. As for Jie Xiu, he could only pray. Pray that Ning Fan's cultivation would be successful in the future and he would return to Great Jin. He hoped that Ning Fan would not destroy his country in a fit of rage. Chapter 173. Ning Fan followed Jie Xiu through the teleportation formation and passed by many cultivation cities. Both of them were nascent Soul Realm cultivators. The treatment they received was different from the Gold Core Realm cultivators. Usually, Gold Core Realm cultivators would only activate the formation when a certain number of them were gathered. This was to avoid wasting immortal jade. Naturally, it took up a lot of time. However, Ning Fan and Jie Xiu were different. Both of them had prominent identities. When they arrived at a cultivation city, they immediately requested for the teleportation formation. The person in charge of the formation did not dare to disobey them. Even if there were only a few Gold Core Realm cultivators teleporting with them, the formation light was still activated. In just 6 days, the two of them had traveled millions of li with hundreds of teleportation formations and arrived at Ju Shan Pass, the border of the Northwest Demon Tide. The closer they got to the Northwest region, the more horrifying the scene became. Outside of Ju Shan Pass, the corpses and broken treasures of cultivators and demons were scattered across thousands of li away from the pass. The air was filled with the stench of blood. As for the mortal villages and cities within thousands of li away from Jushan Pass, not even their bones were left when the demon tide began. There were hundreds of thousands of mortals and thousands of cultivators that died in Jushan Pass alone. If this number were to be calculated in the entire northwest region of Great Jin, including the fallen areas, the number of cultivators who died would have reached tens of thousands and the number of mortals who died would have reached tens of millions. Even though Ning Fan was experienced in killing, he still could not calm down when he saw the tragic scene before him. He could treat the death of cultivators indifferently because fighting and killing were the fate of cultivators. But what was the sin of mortals? They only wanted to have a full meal, a warm bed, a harmonious family and a peaceful life. However, all of these became extravagant wishes in the face of the demon tide. Ning Fan was different from Jie Xiu. When Jie Xiu heard about the death of mortals, he was indifferent. When he heard about the heavy casualties of cultivators, his expression changed. Different Dao, however, Ning Fan did not expect that a few high-grade cultivation cities would fall under the demon tide and be trampled into ruins by the demons. 6 days ago, Jie Xiu told him that there were 3 cities that were destroyed. Today, the number had increased to 7. Hence, Jushan Pass, which was originally not the outermost city, became a high-grade city after the cities that were further away were destroyed. Venerable Snow, who had returned with injuries, gathered all the nascent soul realm experts in a fit of rage, intending to use Jushan Pass as a base to fight back against the demon tide. Jing Zhua and Yin Suqiu were guarding this pass. I don't know if there was a mistake. I should have advised Yin Suqiu not to choose this pass. When Ning Fan and Jie Xiu arrived at the outskirts of Jushan Pass, the tide of demons was still there. Moreover, a weak early spirit-severing spirit sense scanned through the two of them. After sensing their identity as humans, it no longer paid any attention to them. This person was revered Snow. Since this person was so vigilant, it meant that the situation could not be delayed. Jie Xiu wanted to rush into the pass immediately, but Ning Fan shook his head. Fellow Taoist Jie, you go and meet up with the nascent soul realm cultivators first. I'm going to the top of the city wall to see my old friends, fellow Taoist Zhou, the situation is critical now. We don't have time to waste. Jie Xiu's words did not enter Ning Fan's ears. He stepped on the ice rainbow and dashed towards the walls of Jushan Pass. Jie Xiu, on the other hand, shook his head. He knew that Zhou Ming's Dao companion was guarding this place, as such, he had to report to Venerable Snow first. Jushan Pass stretched for 1,000 li and the city walls were 300 zhang tall. Reckless demons of the vein opening realm and harmonious spirit realm swarmed towards the city walls like tidal waves. There was no end to them. As for the bird-like demons and harmonious spirit realm demons, they could fly above the city walls and attack the cultivators who were guarding it. Every time these demons attacked the city walls, they would devour the defensive grand formation. If they were killed by cultivators, they would self-detonate or perish together with the cultivators before they died. Some of them even used their weak strength to shake the grand formation. The grand formation of Jushan Pass had already been destroyed by the tide of demons. Immortal jade could be used to replenish the formation, but 1/3 of the formations had been destroyed by the tide of demons. There were also gold core realm demons that either transformed into human form or kept their beast forms. They rushed up the city walls and started a massacre. Ordinary cultivators who were guarding the city walls were no match for these demons. Only gold core realm cultivators could resist them. Yin Suqiu was also fighting to the death on the city walls. Her movements were calm and graceful like an immortal. The crystal bracelet in her hand was already stained with blood. Gold core realm demons would definitely die under her attack. There were even a few peak gold core realm demons who died under her attack. There were too many of these demons. Yin Suqiu's eyes could not help but show a trace of worry. The tide of demons was getting harder and harder to resist. Would Great Jin be destroyed? It was just that this worry, compared to before, was extremely faint. When she recalled that Ning Fan was injured by Jin Xiu, this trace of worry was also erased. Jin Xiu is tyrannical. It's natural for him to be destroyed. She would not have such thoughts in the past. But now, she had such thoughts. With the heaven and earth bracelet in her hand, she looked like an orchid that walked out from a sea of blood. She immediately attracted the attention of the demons who were attacking the city. 4 peak gold core realm demons in human form surrounded her. They were either male or female, tall or short. Relying on the power of the heaven and earth bracelet, Yin Suqiu could severely injure one of the demons in a single move. However, her magic power had already been greatly depleted under the joint attack of the demons. A moment of carelessness caused a sturdy demon to sneak behind her. Its bloody claws shone with a demonic light. Not good. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. She wanted to use her butterfly wings to escape the attack. However, her magic power was already weak and it was difficult for her to use it. She was about to be hit by the demon. However, at this moment, the surrounding area within 1,000 zhang radius suddenly trembled. Immediately, all the small demons within 1,000 zhang radius turned into ice shards and perished under the trembling of the heaven and earth. The ice was shattered with a punch. Even the 4 peak gold core realm demons spurted out a mouthful of blood. Their faces were filled with shock and they quickly retreated. Before Yin Suqiu could regain her senses, she suddenly realized that her delicate body had fallen into someone's embrace. That aura was familiar. That smile was the same as yesterday. That gaze was as cold as ice that would never melt for 10,000 years. I'm late, he said indifferently and immediately disappeared in a ray of black light. The 4 peak gold core realm demons were all shocked. How could they not know that the person in front of them was a nascent soul realm expert? They retreated and retreated again. However, how could their retreating speed be faster than the lightning from Ning Fan's finger? With a slap from his palm, a demon's core was shattered and a demon died. With a lightning from his finger, a demon was blasted into ashes. With a punch that shattered ice, a demon was crushed like ice. With a stomp from his foot, the last demon was stomped into meat paste. Powerful. Absolutely powerful. All the cultivators who were guarding the area were shocked. It's a nascent soul realm old ancestor. The old ancestor is here to save us. Strange. Aren't the nascent soul realm old ancestor helping revered Snow to heal his injuries? Why would he care about our lives? They did not know Ning Fan's identity, but they were filled with gratitude for him lending them a helping hand. You're here. Did they hurt you again? Yin Suqiu was in Ning Fan's embrace. Although she knew that it was inappropriate, she could not push him away. When she saw Ning Fan's pale face, she naturally asked with concern. I'm fine. It's not because of my cultivation. Ning Fan shook his head. This paleness was the side effect of using the sacrifice technique at the cost of his blood essence. He did not say anything else. He held Suqiu in his arms and stood in the sky. There were no romantic thoughts in his mind. Instead, there was a brutal killing intent. He took out a bottle of burning blood pill and consumed it. His killing intent surged and tried to burn everything in front of him. Die. The black sword sense swept across 1,000 li. Nearly 10,000 vein opening realm demons, 100 harmonious spirit realm demons and 10 early gold core realm demons were all killed by this sword sense. 1,000 li of Ju Shan mountain pass was shrouded in black and blood light. The whole pass was shocked. The mid-gold core realm demons immediately retreated. Even the nascent soul realm cultivators in the pass were surprised and used their spirit sense to check. Nascent soul realm sword sense. This fellow Daoist is really powerful. He's not a gene cultivator but a cultivator from another country who came to Great Jin's aid? Could it be that this person is the 7th commander appointed by Great Jin? Zhou Ming. The danger of the demon tide was eliminated by Ning Fan alone. Fast. Too fast. Even the other early nascent soul realm cultivators would need at least 2 hours to kill all the demons. In order to eliminate the demon tide so quickly, one would need at least the strength of a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. Ning Fan's speed of eliminating the demons had attracted the attention of many nascent soul realm cultivators before he even met them. His battle jade was filled with battle merits like raindrops. 119,762 battle merits. Even though his colossal bones secret art had yet to break through to the 3rd level, his giant body had grown to 15 zhang tall. He was not far from breaking through. The killing intent of the burning blood pill was only released during the massacre just now. Not bad. The battle merits are coming faster than I imagined. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. It would be much easier for him to accumulate 300,000 battle merits than he imagined. With his current strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to accumulate 1 million battle merits in 3 months. It might be a good thing to exchange 1 million immortal jade from King Jin. Are you Zhou Ming? An old and indifferent voice resounded in the sky above Ju Shan Pass. Spirit Severing Realm Cultivator, Revered Snow. Junior Zhou Ming greets Revered Snow. Ning Fan's expression did not change, but his heart trembled slightly. Revered Snow. This person seems to desire the cold pine marrow very much. Dispense with the formalities. Quickly come and see me inside the pass. Revered Snow's voice was indiscernible, but there was a hint of surprise in it. He could tell that Ning Fan was a half-step gold core realm cultivator and divine vein lightning star cultivator. With just a glance, he could tell that Ning Fan possessed demon blood and had the silver bone realm. But what surprised Revered Snow the most was the trace of flame chi on Ning Fan's body. His cultivation base was the snow realm, which made him the most sensitive to fire. This kid not only has the cold pine marrow but also the black demon flame. There are a total of 11 people in the rain world who possess the black demon flame. However, this kid's flame is different. There is a trace of chi in this flame that is warning me. It's that person. Revered Snow tried to sense the chi of the flame again. After confirming something, his expression changed drastically. Early Spirit Severing Realm Cultivator, a revered elder of the Rain Palace. It was rare for his expression to change so drastically. He was not even this shocked when he faced the demon general. This chi in the flame. It can't be wrong. It's Deacon Han's chi. Sure enough, sure enough. This flame belongs to Deacon Han. I was fortunate enough to meet him once in the past. It can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. Ning Fan did not know that when he was thinking about how to deal with Revered Snow became fearful of him. All of this was because of the trace of chi that the old monster left in the black demon flame. That chi was a warning to everyone who knew the old monster. Get lost. That trace of chi in the black demon flame turned into a warning that violently shook Revered Snow's heart. The magical power wasn't strong. But the power of this vibration made Revered Snow feel insignificant and irresistible. There was only one word, but it was the difference between an immortal and a mortal. In this word, there was a rare, true immortal's might. He originally wanted to seize Ning Fan's heart of marrow, but he immediately kept it. Ning Fan did not know that the old monster gave him the black demon flame as a form of protection. Ning Fan did not know that the reason the old monster aged so quickly after he left 7 Apricot City was because he left a trace of true immortal's might in the black demon flame, a roar. After all, he was worried that Ning Fan would be plotted against by an expert. Otherwise, he would never hand over the black demon flame, an item that could even tempt spirit severing experts, to Ning Fan when he was only a harmonious spirit expert. It was fine if nascent soul realm cultivators did not know about the old monster. Above the spirit severing realm, many of them had heard of Han Yuanji. As for void refinement and void fragmentation realms, no one knew about him. The old monster's protection was never mentioned to Ning Fan and only kept it in his heart. But this protection had always been there. Chapter 174. Ning Fan left these troubles to Jing Zhuo while he entered the seclusion with Yin Suqiu. You're overestimating yourself. Do you think you're a nascent soul realm cultivator? Ning Fan shook his head. Yin Suqiu immediately refuted. What about you? Why did you get yourself into so much trouble? The heavenly frost cold chi and the cold pine marrow. You can't keep this item. I heard that the revered elder of the Rain Palace has taken a liking to it. It's a hot potato. Yin Suqiu knew that Ning Fan was a dual spirit cultivator who possessed both fire and ice spirits. She had also witnessed the might of his black demon flame's dragon vortex fire. However, that was in Yu country. In Yu country, Ning Fan was invincible. It was fine for him to expose the black demon flame and fight for the heavenly cold earth fire. However, in Great Jin, under the watchful eyes of nascent soul realm experts and even divine transformation realm experts, he actually got involved in the trouble of the cold pine marrow. Although Ning Fan's aura was majestic when he killed the demons, Yin Suqiu knew that he was just a half-step gold core realm cultivator. Moreover, the reason why he went to the Endless Sea was to form his core. It was already difficult for him to disguise as a nascent soul realm cultivator. It was even more troublesome for him to offend divine envoy Yun Kuang. Now, there was even a possibility of conflict with a divine transformation realm expert from the Rain Palace. It was very dangerous. Yin Suqiu would be worried. Don't worry about it. If it was in the past, I would indeed be worried about revered Snow. However, the injuries he revealed through his spirit sense and voice transmission just now made me think of a possibility. That person's injuries might be extremely troublesome for him, but for me, I'll treat him. I'm confident that by treating his injuries, he won't be competing for the cold pine marrow. In fact, I might even be able to protect my trip to the Great Jin without any worries. What? You've just arrived at Ju Shan Pass, and you haven't even seen that revered elder, yet you've already seen through his injuries? Yin Suqiu covered her mouth with her hand. She was greatly astonished. Even if Ning Fan's pill refinement realm was at the fourth revolution, he should not be able to diagnose someone's illness with his spirit sense and voice transmission. Yes. I wouldn't be able to tell if it's any other injury. However, I'm very familiar with this injury. Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Revered Snow has summoned all the nascent soul realm cultivators. I have to go as well. You should rest in the mountain pass first. You can go after you've recovered. Ning Fan knew that it was impossible for Yin Suqiu to recuperate and avoid the battle. Once this woman recovers her magic power, she will immediately go and defend the city. What a stubborn woman. Before the end of the long street, Ning Fan nodded his head and teleported to the Heaven Ruler waterfall that was 1,000 li away from the pass. Then, he entered the misty palace above the 10,000 zhang tall waterfall. There were cultivators of the Rain Palace guarding outside the palace. All of them were at least at the Gold Core realm. These cultivators were used to being arrogant and overbearing. Who are you? The white-robed Golden Core leader shouted. Commander Jin, Zhou Ming. Ning Fan said indifferently. What? It's Jin Xiu's new 7th commander, Ancestor Zhou Ming. Currently, there was no news of victory from Ju Shan Pass. Even with the spirit sense of these Gold Core realm cultivators, they were unable to detect the situation of the battle at the pass. These Gold Core realm cultivators didn't know how powerful Ning Fan was. However, when they heard the two words Zhou Ming, all of them froze like statues. At the next moment, they retracted all their arrogance and became extremely respectful. Junior greets forefather Zhou Ming. The revered elder is gathering all the nascent soul realm cultivators in the palace hall. Old ancestor, you can go there by yourself. If anyone asks, just show your merit jade and no one will dare to stop you. Yes. Ning Fan uttered indifferently and stepped into the cloud palace. The merit jade of an ordinary gold core realm cultivator was green. However, Ning Fan's merit jade was black. Black represented respect and the identity of the Great Jin's commander. When he held the black jade in his hand, no one dared to stop him anymore. There were even cultivators of the Rain Palace who led the way for Ning Fan on their own accord. Their expressions were extremely respectful. After passing through the corridors of the palace, Ning Fan arrived at the inner palace. The inner palace was heavily guarded. A white-haired young man was standing on the jade stairs. However, his complexion looked a little unwell. Below the stairs, there were 19 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace and 13 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Great Gene. Among the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Great Gene, the king was not here. The cultivators of the Great Gene were forcefully taken over by the Rain Palace. However, no matter how powerful the Rain Palace was, it couldn't allow anyone to be the king. The law of the Rain world clearly stated that the king was exempted from serving. The king was not here. Other than Jie Xiu, Ning Fan didn't know any of the cultivators of the Great Gene. However, Ning Fan saw a few familiar faces among the cultivators of the Rain Palace. They were the green-robed old scholar, Song Yi, the beautiful lady in the blue dress, and Lu Yunxiu. Ning Fan had fought against these two nascent soul realm cultivators in Wei country. Of course, Ning Fan knew them. Apart from that, Ning Fan also saw an ugly man among the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace. That ugly man's name was Yun Lai. When Ning Fan first entered the Dark Sparrow Valley, he provoked a gold core realm cultivator with a single sentence. However, the result was that Yun Lai easily crushed the gold core realm cultivator's ship with a single claw. Ning Fan couldn't see through this person's cultivation base. However, his aura was even more profound than King Jin's. Peak nascent soul realm cultivator. However, what Ning Fan found most inconceivable was a barefooted lady. His expression immediately turned strange. That lady stood alone and didn't join the crowd. It was as if she didn't fit in with her surroundings. Her black hair was like a waterfall. She wore pine branches as a hairpin and willow leaves as a pendant. Her eyes were as bright as the moon and stars. There was an indescribable bewitching beauty to her. Her waist was slender and her clothes were plain green. She wore a bracelet with a silver bell on her wrist. The most unique thing about her was that she was barefooted. Her feet were like jade and there were silver chains around her ankles. However, her delicate feet were untainted by dust under the effect of her magical power. Lan Rua Temple's mid-nascent soul realm old demon. Yun Ruowei. That day, the old monster brought him to the Lan Rua Temple to plunder many countries. He even used shameless means to coerce this lady. When the lady saw Ning Fan looking at her, a trace of indignation flashed across her beautiful eyes. However, she immediately concealed it without leaving a trace. Seeing this, Ning Fan knew that this lady still hated him. Most likely, the relationship between the two of them couldn't be resolved. However, what concerned Ning Fan was that this lady was actually a divine messenger of the Rain Palace. Divine messengers of the Rain Palace must cultivate the cultivation method of the righteous Tao. They wouldn't even accept the evil Tao, let alone the demon Tao. He didn't know if this lady was a demon or if she had coincidentally opened her demon vein and cultivated a demonic technique. Either way, she was considered to have entered the demon Tao and couldn't become a divine messenger of the Rain Palace. However, she was able to join the Rain Palace and participate in this demon extermination battle with a sensitive identity. It seemed like she had an extraordinary background. The moment Ning Fan entered the hall, everyone immediately stopped their discussions. Jie Xiu was here. He heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Ning Fan enter. He revealed a smile and introduced Ning Fan to the crowd. Everyone, please take a look. This is the new 7th commander appointed by King Jin, Zhou Ming. I'm sure everyone has seen his battle record with their spirit sense. You should know how powerful he is and that he's qualified to be the 7th commander. In my opinion, there's no need for Divine Messenger Yun Kuang to take over the position of the 7th commander. Jie Xiu's words made the nascent soul realm cultivators of Jin nod in agreement while the cultivators of the Rain Palace remained silent. Yun Kuang's eyes darkened as he stared at Ning Fan coldly. 7th commander. He's not worthy. Oh. It seems like all of you are discussing about my matter. However, I've just arrived here and I don't know what you're discussing about. Please enlighten me, fellow Taoist Jie. Ning Fan avoided Yun Kuang's gaze as he did not want to offend him at this moment. It was not a good feeling, but he could only endure it for the time being. Jie Xiu wanted to clear up Ning Fan's doubts. Unexpectedly, Revered Snow, who always kept a straight face, spoke first. I've gathered all the nascent soul realm cultivators to discuss about your position as the 7th commander. I've recorded the details of the discussion in a jade slip. You can take a look at it. Revered Snow nodded. Immediately, a divine messenger of the Rain Palace passed a jade slip to Ning Fan. As for Revered Snow, he did something that no one could imagine. This white-haired old man actually smiled faintly at Ning Fan. Take your time. There's no hurry. That smile was not the slightest bit fake. It was a smile of goodwill, a smile of friendship. At this moment, be it the cultivators of Jin or the Rain Palace, all of them were shocked. Even Ning Fan himself revealed a surprised expression. What? Revered Snow, who was known as the unmeltable ice, might not even smile at a revered elder at the same level as him. However, he actually smiled at Zhou Ming. Strange. How strange. According to the rumors, didn't Zhou Ming obtain the cold pine marrow that Revered Snow wanted? It was already rare for Revered Snow to not glare at him. Why did he smile? Why did he smile? Because of the discussion, the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace were not friendly towards Ning Fan. Yun Kuang, on the other hand, already had a grudge against Ning Fan. In the eyes of the crowd, it was already strange for Revered Snow to not glare at Ning Fan and forcefully snatch the cold pine marrow from Ning Fan given his unmeltable ice personality. There was no reason for him to smile at Ning Fan. Could it be that Revered Snow's personality changed drastically after getting injured? That's impossible. Or could it be that Revered Snow was not smiling at Ning Fan but the cold pine marrow that came to him? That's possible. Yun Kuang also had the same thought. After guessing that Revered Snow did not have any good intentions towards Ning Fan, he no longer concealed his hostility towards Ning Fan. This hostility was even stronger than the time when he was fighting for Yin Suchio's affections at the Lock World. Ning Fan did not care about the gazes of the crowd. He even automatically ignored Yun Kuang. However, Revered Snow's smile was the only one he could not see through. He did not know whether it was good or hostile. When he scanned the images in the jade slip with his spirit sense, the discussions of the crowd in the past few days immediately replayed in his mind. I see. Ning Fan muttered to himself. No wonder the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace were hostile towards him. No wonder Yun Kuang's hostility towards him grew deeper. So, everything was because of the 7th commander. The 7th commander, Sun Ri, had died in the demon tide. His forces had suddenly become ownerless. The Rain Palace wanted Yun Kuang to take over Sun Ri's forces. However, the king of Jin was unwilling to let the forces of Jin fall into the hands of the Rain Palace. Thus, he painstakingly searched for cultivators from other countries to replace Sun Ri. The Rain Palace taking over Jin country was only temporary. However, if Yun Kuang becomes the 7th commander, the influence of the Rain Palace's branch in Jin country would become deeper. This was a battle between the Rain Palace and Jin country. However, I actually got involved in it. From Yun Kuang's point of view, Yin Suchio, whom he loved, was snatched away by Ning Fan. Now, the 7th commander of Jin country that he yearned for was also snatched away by Ning Fan. 7th commander, you are not worthy. I, Yun Kuang, am the suitable person. Yun Kuang's cold words interrupted Ning Fan's thoughts, causing his eyes to darken. Isn't this Yun Kuang a little too arrogant? The more I tolerate him, the more Yun Kuang will not let the matter go. Ning Fan did not want to be the 7th commander, but he could no longer tolerate Yun Kuang. His Tao had always been unyielding. It was enough for him to tolerate Yun Kuang a few times. King Jin will decide whether I am worthy of this position or not. It doesn't seem like you, Yun Kuang, can make the decision for the Rain Palace. Humph. If you dare to receive a sword strike from me, I will grant you the position of the 7th commander regardless of whether you receive it or not. However, do you dare? Yun Kuang sneered. With a flick of his sleeve, a black-colored hidden sword appeared in his hand. The hidden sword was a weapon used for assassination. Its ability was also strange. It was different from ordinary flying swords. Night Sword Yun Kuang. Even a mid-stage nascent soul realm cultivator wouldn't want to take a blow from him. Do you dare? Do you dare? Do you dare? These three words reverberated in the inner hall of the Cloud Palace. This echoing technique shocked the nascent soul realm cultivators. Only a late nascent soul realm cultivator could make his voice reverberate in the air. This Yun Kuang was able to do it when he was only a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. Extraordinary. However, the reverberating voice turned into a cold light in Ning Fan's eyes. The lightning star on his glabella flashed. His voice was like heavenly thunder, shattering all of Yun Kuang's voice. Why wouldn't I dare? Yu Xiao and the others did not stop the battle. They were happy to see Ning Fan's defeat. Other than Jie Xiao, who was a little nervous, no one stopped the battle. They wanted to see Ning Fan's strength. Zhu Shan killed the demon in Guan Guan, which was enough to prove that Ning Fan's strength was comparable to a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. However, Yun Kuang was also a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. Between the two of them, there must be a victor. Ning Fan could not retreat. He needed a chance to show his strength. Not only would he gain the approval of both sides, but he would also make revered Snow fearful. Imperial Lightning Star. Sound and thunder. Under such a technique, a mere echoing technique was nothing. Yun Kuang's expression changed drastically when his voice was shattered. As for Yu Xiao and Jin Xiao, except for Song Yi and Jie Xiao who had seen the lightning star before, all of their expressions changed. Immemorial Divine Vein. Lightning Vein. Could it be? Could it be? However, the person who was most shocked by Ning Fan's technique was not anyone but Yun Ruowei. Because of Ning Fan's blasphemy, she had been trapped by her heart devil for several years. The lingering warmth of that finger would always reverberate in her heart, making her unable to cultivate due to her anger and shame. Towards Ning Fan, she felt resentful but also amazed. She knew that Ning Fan was the disciple of the old devil. Moreover, she knew that this young man was just an ant who had just broken through to the harmonious spirit realm a few years ago. Even if she let him go, Ning Fan would not be able to hurt her at all. If Ning Fan did not play dirty, he would not let Yun Ruowei suffer any losses. Today, however, Ning Fan in Yun Ruowei's eyes became terrifyingly powerful the moment he activated the lightning star. It even gave Yun Ruowei a strong sense of danger. The demon race was afraid of lightning. That lightning could greatly suppress them. In just a few years, he has actually grown to such a level. However, it's impossible for him to form his nascent soul in just a few years. In fact, it's not even enough for him to form his core. What's going on with his chi? Why does he have the strength of a nascent soul realm cultivator? Somehow, the heart devil that she had been suppressing for several years emerged in her heart. Yun Ruowei helplessly realized that she could not erase the shadow that Ning Fan had left in her heart at all. Towards the battle between Ning Fan and Yun Kuang, she could not be as cold and indifferent as she usually was. What an abominable man. However, can he withstand Yun Kuang's sword attack? Even I can't withstand that sword attack. Yun Ruowei bit her lips angrily, feeling helpless and worried about Ning Fan's safety. Chapter 175. Immemorial Divine Veins, Lightning Vein. Fiend God Star. In the past, Song Yi misunderstood Ning Fan's identity because of this star. Today, there were 6 to 7 nascent soul realm cultivators who misunderstood Ning Fan's identity because of this star. The other nascent soul realm cultivators were slightly surprised when they recognized Ning Fan's immemorial divine veins. However, people like Song Yi were not simply surprised. Instead, they were shocked. Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. It was not strange for there to be immemorial divine veins and devil veins in the 800 cultivation countries of the Rain World. Moreover, in a place like the Rain World, the attribute of the immortal veins was the first factor to evaluate a cultivator's aptitude. Heavenly Spirit Realm and Dual Spirit Realm cultivators were considered as geniuses. As for those with immemorial divine devil veins, their aptitude was even higher. The Rain Palace itself had inherited the Rain divine veins. However, there were only 10 people who could activate the divine veins from the vein opening realm to the void fragmentation realm. Yun Kuang, Song Yi, and Revered Snow could not do it. Moreover, Thunder's sovereign Buzhou was the only one who had the lightning divine veins in the history of the Rain World in the past 100,000 years. Moreover, Zhou Ming's surname was Zhou. Could it be that this Zhou Ming is the successor of Thunder's sovereign Buzhou? The astonishment made the hearts of the cultivators tremble. Even Revered Snow's eyes turned cold. If the successor of the Thunder Sovereign really appeared in this world, this matter would be troublesome. Revered Snow peeked a few more times and confirmed that Ning Fan was the disciple of the old devil and had nothing to do with the Thunder Sovereign. Moreover, even though Ning Fan had condensed a lightning star, the lightning power in his body was not much. He could only use the lightning star to display his lightning abilities. It was still far from the true lightning divine veins. It was said that when Thunder's sovereign Buzhou was still at the nascent soul realm, he could already turn his body into lightning with his lightning veins. The magic spells and magical treasures of cultivators at the same level as him could not touch his body at all. Even early spirit severing realm cultivators could not do anything to him. Unless one's cultivation level was much higher than him or possessed a lightning-suppressing treasure, or had divine devil veins or an immemorial divine weapon, it would be extremely difficult to hurt him. Turning one's body into lightning, invincible to all enemies, resisting devil divine lightning, and suppressing 3 sovereigns, after confirming that Ning Fan did not have the lightning vein, Revered Snow heaved a sigh of relief. He sat on the cloud throne and pointed a finger at the cloud palace. Immediately, the cloud palace shook and dispersed into clouds. In the blink of an eye, the clouds and mist gathered again, turning into a cloud platform that stretched 1,000 zhang. At the center of the cloud platform stood Ning Fan and Yun Kuang. Revered Snow and the other nascent soul realm cultivators were watching the battle from another platform surrounded by clouds and mist. The position of the 7th commander will be decided in a single move. No matter who wins or loses, no one is allowed to regret it. Just as Revered Snow's voice trailed off, Yun Kuang's sword moved. He did not think that he would lose in a single strike. He was rather fearful of Ning Fan's lightning star and divine veins. However, he had never heard of Thunder's sovereign Buzhou before. Given his status, he was not qualified to know about that kind of taboo. Thus, he was not fearful of him. Even if he knew, with his arrogant personality, he wouldn't be intimidated by the name. With a flick of his finger, the black sleeve sword suddenly disappeared without a trace. It wasn't teleportation, but melting. Zhou Ming. Since you don't know what's good for you, bear the consequences yourself. This sword is called shadow bearing, and it's more than enough to kill you. The moment the hidden blades melted, countless black leaves appeared around Ning Fan's body. The leaves scattered and turned into black mist, causing the entire cloud platform to be shrouded in darkness like the middle of the night. Not only could it block the vision, but it could also block the senses of spirit sense. Nascent soul augmentation divine ability, blinding. A single leaf obscures one's sight, and one cannot see Mount Tai. In the darkness, it was impossible to tell where the attack came from. As soon as the darkness appeared, Ning Fan was immediately alerted. In the darkness, an ink-like sleeve sword that blended into the night was thrusting towards his back. He couldn't see it clearly. All he could hear was the sound of breathing. It was the breathing of the sword. It was a supreme grade sword that was imbued with a nascent soul realm sword technique. It was unavoidable. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's sword sense, he definitely wouldn't be able to sense the chi of the hidden blade. If it's a sneak attack, even an early nascent soul realm cultivator would only be able to pinpoint the location of the sword light through the pain after being pierced by the sword. It would be too late for him to block the attack and he would only be injured. Yun Kuang didn't think that Ning Fan could identify the shadow of the sword. So what if it's lightning star and divine veins? Ning Fan's spirit sense was just at the early nascent soul realm. By the time he noticed the shadow of the sword, he would have already been injured. Besides, the true power of this sword was far from its ability to conceal itself. His lips curled into a sneer, but his smile suddenly froze. Countless ink-colored sword scents rose from the black mist on the cloud platform. The nascent soul realm black mist was immediately shredded by the sword scents. Yun Kuang and Ning Fan's figures reappeared on the cloud platform. The ink-colored hidden blade was pinched by Ning Fan's 2 silver fingers, unable to break free. Silver Bone Realm. Using the sword sense to detect the hidden blade's sneak attack and using the silver bone to easily catch it, Ning Fan revealed a mocking expression and sneered. Yi Jian Yun Kuang is only a so-so, the audience exclaimed in surprise. They were shocked that Yun Kuang's best assassination technique was broken just like that. Those who knew Yun Kuang's technique understood that the sword wasn't finished. Yun Kuang's expression was as gloomy as iron. He suddenly formed a hand seal. You are too careless. Sword technique, Shadow Devil. As soon as his voice fell, Ning Fan's hidden blade immediately exploded into a shadow. The shadow went through Ning Fan's arm and went into his body. The true assassination technique of Yun Kuang's sword wasn't a sneak attack. It was a moment of carelessness when the hidden blade was caught by the enemy. The sword would then turn into a shadow and enter the body, killing the enemy from the inside out. In this way, even a silver bone body refinement cultivator would be killed from the inside out, leaving behind only an empty corpse. Ning Fan wasn't surprised when the sword's shadow entered his body. It was as if he had already expected it. This flying sword was actually a sword shadow that had been refined. The shadow was an intangible object. It was extremely difficult to refine a sword body with an intangible object. However, Yun Kuang managed to find a Grand Master of Rain Palace to refine this sword. The sword shadow was so weak that it couldn't withstand the sword chi to release a sword technique. However, if it was used for a sneak attack, it would be impossible to defend against the sword shadow. With the shadow-bearing sword, Yun Kuang had killed 13 early nascent soul realm and mid-nascent soul realm cultivators. There was even a late nascent soul realm cultivator who was severely injured by Yun Kuang's technique. His arrogance was a disguise to make his enemies let their guard down. No one would have thought that the seemingly arrogant and superficial Yun Kuang was actually a cunning and sneaky assassin. Yun Kuang's expression turned gloomier when he saw the secret of his shadow-bearing sword being exposed in front of everyone. However, when he thought that the sword shadow had already entered Ning Fan's body, he would definitely be able to kill him. However, something unexpected happened. Ning Fan's long hair danced in the air as the sword shadow entered his body. His eyes were cold and demonic black marks gradually appeared on the left side of his face. His chi changed drastically and became as cold as a stone. It was as if he had become another person in an instant. As for his body, it broke into pieces just like how the shadow-bearing sword had broken into a shadow. The broken pieces turned into black sword scents and moved half a zhang horizontally before condensing into a body again. The sword shadow that was supposed to enter his body was forced out just like that. Shadow-bearing sword. It's a good flying sword. I want this sword. He did not evade the sharp sword light but grabbed the shadow-bearing sword. At this moment, Ning Fan was like the master of 10,000 swords, causing the shadow-bearing sword to tremble slightly. This trembling made it fall into Ning Fan's hand again. This time, Ning Fan's sword sense went into the shadow-bearing sword and wiped away Yun Kuang's spirit sense imprint. Then, he replanted the imprint. This sword had changed its owner. Of course, Ning Fan was the winner of this battle. Puff! Yun Kuang felt a sharp pain in his heart when his spirit sense imprint was erased. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and was slightly injured. However, his eyes were filled with shock for the first time in his life. It was already rare for the shadow-bearing sword to be able to break a sword into a shadow. He had never thought that Ning Fan's body could also be reformed. This was the power of the Black Tempest spirit-splitting technique. Yun Kuang had never thought that Ning Fan would dare to snatch his flying sword in front of everyone. Defeating Yun Kuang was still acceptable, but this person actually dared to snatch the treasure in front of everyone. This was simply slapping the Rain Palace's face. Who gave him the courage to do so? Before Yun Kuang was enraged, several nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace stepped forward and said in a deep voice. Zhou Ming. Since you defeated Yun Kuang, you can become one of the 7 commanders of the Jin Imperial Guard. You're not putting my Rain Temple in your eyes. Those who would scold Ning Fan were the minority who did not know about Thunder's sovereign Buzhou. Yun Lai didn't move. Yun Ruowei didn't move. Revered Snow didn't move. Song Yi and the others who knew Thunder Monarch Buzhou also didn't move. After all, the shadow-bearing sword was a supreme-grade magical treasure. It had the ability to shatter swords and turn them into shadows. It was extremely powerful in assassination and sneak attacks. Such a supreme treasure originally belonged to the Rain Palace. How could Ning Fan own it? But they didn't say anything. Some were fearful, while others were complicated, like Yun Ruowei. In the face of the rebuke from the Rain Palace's cultivators, Ning Fan just smiled faintly and pretended to be surprised. Did I steal the sword? Humph. Publicly wiping away Wild Cloud's flying sword imprint isn't considered stealing the sword. One of the old monsters said angrily. No, you're wrong. This sword was given to me by Yun Kuang. He said, take my sword. Now, I've accepted it. That's all. Sophistry. This connection is not that connection. How can they be lumped together? So you can't. I don't know. How about this, Divine Emissary Yun Kuang, if you dare to receive a strike from me, I will return this sword to you. However, Yun Kuang, do you dare? How dare you? At this moment, Ning Fan's expression turned cold. He patted his storage pouch and took out an exquisite scabbard. Among them, there was Duga's nascent soul sword Qi. The heart-drawing sword. Ning Fan had yet to comprehend this sword Qi. Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to use it. At this moment, Ning Fan held the scabbard in his hand. His cold eyes made Yun Kuang shudder. Did he dare? This question was the one he had asked Ning Fan before. At this moment, Ning Fan did not have the ability to harmonize his voice with the heaven and earth divine sense. However, just the question alone had made Yun Kuang hesitate. The shadow-bearing sword. He knew that even if he could withstand it, he would definitely be injured by the sword's shadow. The more he relied on this sword to kill his enemies, the more he knew that it was difficult to defend against it. When the sword's shadow entered his body, he did not have Ning Fan's strange explosive divine ability. When Ning Fan took out the exquisite scabbard, Yun Kuang's heart pounded violently for the first time. He felt as if his Tao heart had been ruthlessly slashed by that sword Qi. It hurts. It hurts so much. There was a trace of sword Qi hidden in the scabbard. It was extremely powerful. He could not withstand it. He stared at Ning Fan with resentment, but he did not dare to accept the challenge like what Ning Fan did before. Yun Kuang's gloomy expression was no longer visible. He cupped his fists at Ning Fan and left with a cold snort. He did not dare to receive Ning Fan's sword. Yun Kuang, who was known for his boundless arrogance, retreated for the first time. However, the hostility in his heart towards Ning Fan had already risen to an extreme level. You wait. These were his last words. Yun Kuang did not know that even if Ning Fan obtained the shadow-bearing sword, he could not use it to form a shadow because his magical power was only at the half-step gold core realm. It was impossible for him to completely control supreme-grade magical treasures. Otherwise, why would he not use the 5 elements flying swords and the Eastern Ocean Bell? Yun Kuang also did not know that the heart-drawing sword was indeed powerful, but Ning Fan could not use it at all unless Ning Fan formed his nascent soul. It was really helpless to scare Yun Kuang away. He could not kill Yun Kuang. Even if he could, he would not do it in front of the crowd. Being able to snatch a treasure from Yun Kuang was also an advantage. Yun Kuang's cowardice before the battle had even begun was Ning Fan's helpless action. However, it deeply shocked the hearts of the surrounding cultivators. As for the old monsters of the Rain Palace who stood up for Yun Kuang, they had no excuse to make things difficult for Ning Fan when they saw Yun Kuang running away. I didn't expect Yun Kuang to avoid the battle. Each of the old monsters of the Rain Palace sighed. As for those who were guessing Ning Fan's identity, they became even more uncertain. Body-breaking shadow. What exactly was that ability? No one had ever seen it before. Even revered Snow, who had cultivated for 3,000 years, had never seen it before. Ning Fan's figure was even more deeply rooted in a woman's heart. He actually won. How could this be? Yun Ruowei was filled with bitterness. She was worried that Ning Fan would die under Yun Kuang's sword. However, when Ning Fan won, his heroic image was buried even deeper in her heart. It would be fine if Yun Ruowei liked Ning Fan. What was buried deep in her heart was affection. Unfortunately, Yun Ruowei did not like Ning Fan. Thus, Ning Fan's figure was buried deep in her heart and immediately turned into layers of inner demons. Unless Yun Ruowei could forget about Ning Fan and treat him as a passerby, it would be difficult for her to destroy this inner demon. However, Ning Fan snatched the sword and shocked the enemy. Such a person would be considered as a peerless genius no matter where he is. Yun Ruowei could not ignore him at all. Inner demon. Inner demon. Stinky man. It's fine that you won, but how should I deal with my inner demon? She bit her lips and wanted to cry, but no tears came out. What a troublesome inner demon. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame Ning Fan's shameless means on that day. There was no longer any dispute over the position of the 7th commander. Many old monsters wanted to find out more about Ning Fan's background and abilities. However, they could only wait for the meeting to end. Next, the most important thing for the nascent Soul Realm cultivators was to treat revered Snow's injuries. The cloud platform was broken and the cloud palace was reformed. The battle just now did not disturb any of the cultivators in Ju Shangguan, as all of them were suppressed by revered Snow. If there's someone who can treat my injuries, I will certainly thank you generously. As soon as revered Snow finished speaking, he closed his eyes and sat down. The nascent Soul Realm cultivators were discussing among themselves. However, the discussion ended without any results. Among these old monsters, there were some who knew how to concoct pills, but the strongest among them was only at the 3rd revolution. None of them could identify the source of revered Snow's injuries. This time, Ning Fan took the initiative to volunteer himself, which he rarely did. It was not in line with his usual style. However, in order to resolve the hostility of revered Snow, he thought that treating his injuries and asking for rewards was undoubtedly the best way to solve the problem of the cold pine marrow. I, Zhou, can cure revered Snow. Ning Fan's expression was solemn. He emphasized the word cure very clearly. The speaker had the intention, but the listener had the intention. Each of the nascent Soul Realm cultivators of the Rain Palace's expression changed after hearing Ning Fan's words. What? Revered Snow isn't injured. He's poisoned. Zhou Ming, don't talk nonsense. They did not believe that revered Snow would be poisoned. Only revered Snow's eyes flashed when he heard the word poison. That's right. He was indeed poisoned. However, with his 3,000 years of experience, he couldn't even tell how he was poisoned. Could it be that Zhou Ming can cure him? I'm a 4th revolution pill master. Ning Fan's indifferent words made the entire place fall into silence. This scene was even more unbelievable than him forcing Yun Kuang to retreat. As for Yun Ruowei, she was almost driven mad. She wanted to expose Ning Fan's identity immediately. Impossible. He has only cultivated for a few years. How could he be a fourth revolution pill master? Don't show off anymore. I can't get rid of the devil in my heart. Damn it. There are no good people in the Black Devil sect. None. The entire place was in an uproar. Yun Lai's laughter was followed by silence. This man is indeed a fourth revolution pill master. I can vouch for him. What? Divine Messenger Yun Lai, could it be that you've seen this man concoct pills before? No. My intuition tells me that he is a fourth revolution pill master. The ugly man, Yun Lai, acted as he pleased. His words rendered the old monsters speechless, unable to follow up with a reply. There were also some old monsters who mocked and ridiculed Ning Fan, saying that he was playing to the gallery. There were also some old monsters who ordered Ning Fan to concoct pills in front of everyone to prove his identity. Ning Fan did not care about these noises at all. His eyes met Revered Snow's indifferent gaze. The people around him were not important. Can you really cure me? Revered Snow asked solemnly. I have already cured this poison once. If I'm any slower, I'm afraid that Senior's cultivation will fall. What's the condition? The cold pine marrow belongs to me. Moreover, Senior needs to make a heart devil oath and owe me a favor. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. From his point of view, even Revered Snow would hesitate for a moment before agreeing to the cold pine marrow and a favor. However, Revered Snow did not hesitate at all after Ning Fan spoke. Sure. What a joke. How could he, Revered Snow, seize the cold pine marrow after knowing that Ning Fan was the disciple of the old devil? With the old devil's personality and the tradition of the Black Devil sect, it would be good enough if he did not seize Revered Snow's belongings. How could he, Revered Snow, dare to seize Ning Fan? Yes, the old devil had lost his power and was injured. Many of the higher-ups of the Rain Palace knew that the Deacon of the Four Seas was recuperating in the Rain World. They also knew that the Deacon's enemies also had a powerful background. But at the same time, the people of the Rain World did not dare to offend the old devil. The Rain Palace had no right to interfere in the enmity between true immortals. The old devil had a lot of enemies. It was possible that he did not have any true immortal friends. To Revered Snow, he had already made up his mind not to fight for the cold pine marrow. As for owing Ning Fan a favor, of course, he would owe him a favor. Any pill master who helped him cure the poison would owe him a favor. Apart from the favor, he would also have to give him a gift. Ning Fan did not even ask for extra compensation. It was already very cheap. Did Revered Snow suffer a loss? No, he did. He did not have to pay any price to get Ning Fan to cure his poison. Wasn't this a huge profit? The only thing that worried Revered Snow was whether Ning Fan was really a fourth revolution pill master. Yun Lai's intuition was like a fart. This person helped Ning Fan purely out of goodwill. His words were not trustworthy. With Revered Snow's spirit-severing realm cultivation base, he could tell that Ning Fan's cultivation base was only at the half-step gold core realm. He was lucky to be able to defeat Yun Kuang. It was purely a bluff to scare Yun Kuang away. If Yun Kuang was courageous enough to take on Ning Fan's sword, he might be able to take back the shadow-bearing realm. Half of it was strength, the other half was intelligence and courage. A half-step gold core realm cultivator had extremely strong combat power, many trump cards, extraordinary intelligence and a profound background. However, the art of pill refinement was not child's play. According to Revered Snow's knowledge, the Deacon of the Four Seas Han Yuanji was a true immortal with superb techniques. However, he was impetuous and could not calm down to concoct pills or forge weapons. His pill refinement technique seemed to be at the third revolution and not even the fourth revolution. Ning Fan's bone age was less than 20 years old. Was he really a fourth revolution pill master? The people of the Black Evil sect were all people who talked nonsense. It was hard to distinguish the truth from the lies. I hope this kid can cure me. Revered Snow's expression was calm, but he sighed continuously in his heart. He was resigned to his fate. At least Ning Fan was better than other nascent soul realm cultivators. He could tell that I was poisoned, right? Chapter 176. In front of him, Ning Fan was sitting cross-legged, drawing the earth fire to concoct pills. There was no need for the other nascent soul realm cultivators to treat revered Snow's injuries. All the nascent soul realm cultivators would either defend the city or eliminate the demons. All the decisive battles would have to wait for revered Snow to recover. Jushan Pass would then be considered less dangerous. When Ning Fan took out the Dan fragmentation cauldron, the corners of revered Snow's eyes shrank. When Ning Fan used his finger to draw 4 fire rings in front of the pill cauldron, the corner of revered Snow's eyes shrunk again. This cauldron was only an elementary high-grade artifact, but it was forged from the rotten divine metal of the demon world. Furthermore, it was imbued with the divine ability of the transformation realm, Body Lock. This was a magic treasure tailor-made by the old devil after he was injured. With his late harmonious spirit magical power, he could barely wield a high-grade magical treasure. Even so, the defense of this cauldron had reached an unimaginable level because of the rotten divine metal. Regardless of the grade, the material alone was already comparable to the 10 cauldrons of the Rain world. He is indeed the disciple of Deacon Han. Deacon Han went to the Sword world and left this cauldron to his disciple. And there should be no mistake. When revered Snow saw Ning Fan drawing the flame ring, his heart was first filled with shock and then he was overjoyed. He didn't know the 9 revolutions of the river cart, but he could tell that this was an ancient alchemy technique. Moreover, Ning Fan had drawn 4 rings. The effect of the rings was enough to suppress the medicinal power of a 1,000-year-old spiritual herb and fuse it into a pill. See you on. Is this kid really a 4th revolution Dan master? Revered Snow made up his mind and stood in silence, not daring to disturb him. There were only a few hundred 4th revolution pill refinement masters in the Rain world. Even if Ning Fan's identity was excluded, revered Snow would still pay more attention to 4th revolution pill refinement masters compared to nascent soul realm cultivators. A 4th revolution pill master who was not even 20 years old. With such potential, it was worth it to befriend him. Ning Fan, who was in the midst of concocting pills, did not know that revered Snow did not harbor any hostility towards him at all. Instead, he felt wary, trusted and wanted to befriend him. He explained to Venerable Snow as he refined the elixir pills, afraid that Venerable Snow would be restless while waiting. Senior, you don't have to worry. This poison is called Absolute Een. I have cured a person before with a low-grade 4th revolution pill, the profound 7 Yin Yang pill. Revered Snow did not expect that Ning Fan would still have the energy to concoct a 4th revolution pill. Thus, he could not help but regard Ning Fan's pill refinement technique in a higher light. Only mid-grade 4th revolution pill refinement masters could concoct low-grade 4th revolution pills with ease. This kid is actually an intermediate 4th revolution pill refinement master? Revered Snow's expression changed drastically when he heard about the Absolute Een poison. It's actually this poison. Has Senior heard of this poison? Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. The name of this poison only existed in the ancient times. Even the old devil did not know about it. How could a mere spirit-severing Snow know about it? Sigh. If it's this poison, then that's right. This lord went to the Dragon Dream Swamp to rescue that reckless Yun Lai. However, I encountered a sneak attack from the demon general. That demon general was at the early divine transformation realm just like this lord. After a round of battle, he was on par with this lord. However, in the end, he transformed into a 1,000-feet-long blood carp and spat out a mouthful of blood mist which contained a trace of black blood. That black blood easily penetrated the spirit armor and entered my body. If I hadn't immediately returned to Jushan Pass, my cultivation would have been greatly damaged. Little friend Zhou might not know this, but this poison is unique to the demon spirit land. It was refined by the Void Refinement Demon Commander-in-Chief's Cold Een poison. It's really inconceivable that this demon general was able to obtain a sliver of absolute poison. Revered Snow's words were filled with mixed emotions. He felt lucky that he did not have the immemorial divine veins. Otherwise, this absolute poison would have already wreaked havoc in his body and he would not be able to suppress it. As for the information he mentioned, it made Ning Fan ponder for a while. While he was thinking, his fingers were still controlling the fire to concoct the pill. So, absolute poison is a demon poison. Ancient Chaos did not mention anything about the demon poison. It should be because his memory was incomplete. As for the demon spirit land, Ancient Chaos did not know about it. It should be something that belonged to the later generations. Absolute demon poison. The old devil's enemies include the White Devil sect, the traitor of Moksha Emperor and the demon spirit land. Where is the demon spirit land? His eyes flashed and asked. Ha! Since little friend Zhou wants to know, I can tell you about it. It's not a secret. The demon spirit land is the ruins of the ancient demon world. Just like the ancient heavenly court, it exists in the broken realm. The path to the void realm has been cut off. You can't go there directly. You can only reach it by using special methods and at a specific time. In the ancient heavenly court, there is the immortal ascension pool that people yearn for. Every time the ancient heavenly court reappears, it is the most exciting moment for the cultivators of the 9 worlds. If one is lucky enough to find this pool in the ancient heavenly court, he or she might be able to become an immortal in a single step. As for the demon spirit land, it is the exact opposite. Most of the cultivators of the 9 worlds are unwilling to enter it no matter what. Once they enter it, they will die. Because there are countless powerful ancient demon clans that are sleeping in it. Occasionally, some powerful demons will awaken and break their realms and descend upon the place, causing great trouble. Of course, the people of the demon world might be willing to find the entrance to the demon spirit land. As for the demon spirit land, only the 10 sovereigns of the demon world know when and where to enter the demon spirit land. When the 10 sovereigns of the demon world was mentioned, Revered Snow's eyelids twitched. When the demon tide rose, the 10 sovereigns of the demon world ordered the rain world not to send any void realm experts to deal with the demon generals. Even if the demon tide was quelled, the demons could be killed, but the demon generals must be handed over to the demon world. The rain world is much weaker than the demon world. If it wasn't for the promise of the 9 worlds, the demon world could easily trample the rain world to the ground. The best outcome of this mission is to capture the demon generals and eliminate all the lesser demons. At the end of the day, the demon generals cannot be killed. Revered Snow did not like this kind of feeling. As for this matter, it was a secret of the Rain Palace. He could not tell Ning Fan about it to avoid damaging the reputation of the Rain Palace. Revered Snow remained silent. Ning Fan was also deep in thought. Only the pill flame in the cauldron was still boiling with medicinal power. With a flick of his finger, the pill flame appeared clearly in Ning Fan's eyes. 6 days passed and a strange phenomenon appeared. The pill was completed. In just 6 days, he managed to concoct a low-grade 4th revolution pill. To Ning Fan, who had already reached the 5th revolution, it was nothing. However, this matter surprised Revered Snow. Could it be that Ning Fan's pill concoction technique has already reached the peak of the 4th revolution or even the 5th revolution? Impossible. A 20-year-old 4th revolution pill master is already considered a monster. If it's a 5th revolution pill master. In the Rain world, there are only 27 5th revolution pill masters and there is only one person who can break through to the 5th revolution within 1,000 years. That person is the only 6th revolution pill master in the Rain Palace. Even the Rain Sovereign has to treat him politely. If this young man is really a 5th revolution pill master. No, even if he is just a peak 4th revolution pill master, he will have the chance to become the first 7th revolution pill master in the Rain world in this lifetime. At this moment, Revered Snow's intention to befriend Ning Fan was deeply buried in his heart. Even if Ning Fan fails to become a 7th Revolution Pill Master, with Ning Fan's aptitude, he would at least become a 6th Revolution Pill Master in this lifetime. Such aptitude was enough for him to befriend him. Without waiting for Ning Fan's order, he used an escape technique and dashed out of the waterfall. Then, he easily erased the 4th Revolution Heavenly Tribulation. When the 4th Revolution Pill was formed, not only the nascent soul realm cultivators who went out to kill the demons, but all the cultivators who stayed in Ju Shan Mountain Pass noticed the strange phenomenon. Strange phenomenon of heaven and earth. A 4th Revolution Pill. That Zhou Ming is really a 4th Revolution Pill Master. As for Yun Ruowei, she was caressing the incense burner lazily in her room. Her hands were moving the ashes of the incense. When she smelled the strange phenomenon, her beautiful face was filled with shock. 4th Revolution. 4th Revolution. He's a 4th Revolution Pill Master. Yun Ruowei let out a sigh and closed her eyes. I can't get rid of this heart devil. I can't get rid of it. In a huge residence in Ju Shan Mountain Pass, Yun Kuang was treating the injuries he sustained when Ning Fan snatched his sword from him. Even though he had left in advance, someone had already informed him about Ning Fan curing Revered Snow's poison. 4th Revolution Pill Master. How can you possibly be a 4th Revolution Pill Master? He sneered. However, his sneer seemed extremely ridiculous under the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth 6 days later. He's really a 4th Revolution Pill Master. How can this be? Yun Kuang's heart thumped. Originally, he was hoping that Ning Fan would not be able to cure Revered Snow and end up angering him and causing him to lose the cold pine marrow. Then, he would be able to beat Ning Fan when he's down. Not only would he take back the shadow-bearing sword, but he could also humiliate Ning Fan or even take his life if he has the chance. Today, however, the 4th Revolution Pill was completed. It meant that what Ning Fan said was true. He probably could cure Revered Snow. Once he cured Revered Snow, he would gain Revered Snow's favor and protection. Even if Yun Kuang also gained the favor of a revered elder of the Rain Palace, he would not dare to go against Ning Fan in public. Why? Because he was afraid of offending Revered Snow. I can only endure this hatred. He clenched his teeth unwillingly. He spat out a mouthful of blood that tasted sweet. Since the pill was completed in 6 days, there were naturally many speculations about Ning Fan's pill refinement technique. So what if they were just speculations? It would only make Ning Fan more mysterious. After that, Ning Fan just needed to make up a story about how special the pill he concocted was, and it would not take him much time to dispel everyone's doubts. In the depths of the waterfall, Revered Snow consumed the 7 yin-yang profound pill. The poison gradually melted and his qi recovered. Ning Fan did not leave. His gaze fell on the waterfall. When he saw the spiritual qi in this place, his heart skipped a beat. Little Dugu had once given him a secret technique of the sword finger technique. This body refinement technique was extremely powerful. However, it had a strict requirement to cultivate it. It required one to devour the 5 elemental spirit veins, and the grade of the devoured spirit veins would increase gradually. The first sword finger technique would at least devour the spirit veins of nascent soul realm sections. Low-grade cultivation countries did not have that kind of spirit veins. However, a mid-grade cultivation country like Great Jin had it. Moreover, Ju Shan Pass was originally the place with the best spirit veins in Great Jin. Even the branch of the Rain Palace was built here. This spirit vein was perfect for cultivating the sword finger technique. However, if Ning Fan cultivates the sword finger technique, the spirit vein within 1,000 li radius of Ju Shan Pass would definitely be destroyed. If Ning Fan does such a thing, Great Jin would certainly be furious. If Revered Snow is here to cover for me, this matter will be easier to handle. However, will Revered Snow help me? Or, I might as well pour the dirty water on Revered Snow. I can just say that I accidentally destroyed the spirit vein in Ju Shan Pass because I concocted a pill for Revered Snow. Ning Fan remained calm and collected. Once again, he proposed to concoct a few types of pills to recover vitality for revered Snow. Naturally, revered Snow agreed to his request. The pill that he was going to concoct this time was a type of Fourth Revolution essence nurturing pill. However, Ning Fan deliberately slowed down his steps. While concocting the pill with his left hand, his right hand gently touched the ground and circulated the secret technique of the sword finger technique. Traces of the spirit vein gradually flowed into Ning Fan's fingertip, turning into a heart-wrenching pain. However, this pain was not as bearable as the third Jade Royal pill. As the spiritual chi of the earth vein flowed into his fingertip, his index finger gradually changed. That finger seemed to have turned into a sword. The body of the sword was forged with the power of mountains and rivers, while the traces of spiritual chi of the earth vein turned into a sword light that penetrated through the finger. In Ning Fan's mind, the beautiful figure of the female sword ancestor seemed to appear. She was like a graceful butterfly that shuttled through a group of devils. With a flick of her finger, the sword light took their lives. Not enough. Not enough. 3 days later, the absorption force of Ning Fan's finger became even more rapid, causing the entire Heaven Ruler waterfall to tremble. This kind of trembling was understood by the cultivators outside as the trembling of pill concoction. As for revered Snow, he opened his eyes and was inwardly shocked. He was shocked that Ning Fan was actually absorbing the spiritual chi of the earth vein. This young man is absorbing the spiritual chi of the earth vein in the name of pill concoction. Good plan. Revered Snow smiled disapprovingly. From his point of view, Ning Fan was probably using a secret technique to forcefully absorb the spiritual chi of the earth vein to increase his cultivation base. This kind of secret technique existed. However, the increase in cultivation base was extremely limited. Moreover, Ning Fan was already at the half-step gold core realm. The increase in his cultivation base was very little and he could not absorb much spiritual chi of the earth vein. However, 7 days later, revered Snow could only smile bitterly. 2/3 of the spiritual chi of the earth vein of the Heaven Ruler waterfall had been absorbed by Ning Fan and it did not seem to stop. This young man is trying to destroy the earth vein. What kind of cultivation method is he cultivating? Why is it so overbearing that it even destroys the earth vein? However, revered Snow did not stop him. Putting aside the fact that he still owed Ning Fan a favor, he would also pretend to be unaware of Ning Fan's identity. On the 10th day, the fragrance of pills spread out from the pill cauldron. At the same time, the sound of something breaking resounded within 1,000 li of Ju Shangguan. A sword light flashed. The earth vein was broken. Sword finger, completed. Ning Fan patted the lid of the cauldron. He did not look at the pills in the cauldron but at the finger of his right hand. Sword finger, the first finger. The first finger, mountain crusher. The power that destroyed the earth vein within 1,000 li was the power of this finger. What a terrifying body refining technique. This finger almost exhausted all of my strength. However, the power of this finger is enough to destroy a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. He muttered to himself without showing any expression on his face. At the moment when he stood up, revered Snow also stood up. In a flash, he went out to eliminate the heavenly tribulation. When he returned, he pretended to frown. Sigh. This earth vein is actually destroyed. Please forgive me, Senior. When I was concocting pills, I did not have enough magic power. Thus, I tried to absorb some spiritual chi of the earth vein. Unexpectedly, I was careless and destroyed the earth vein. I wonder if Senior can help me to settle this trouble for the sake of my favor. Fine. I promise to help you once. Of course, I can settle this trouble for you. However, this matter was caused by little friend who was concocting pills for me. I can't blame little friend for this. It's my fault. This favor can be saved for the next time. Ning Fan tried to use this favor to get rid of the trouble. However, it seemed like even without this favor, revered Snow was also very willing to be the scapegoat. Even though it was hard to accept the fact that he destroyed the earth vein by concocting fourth revolution pills twice, it seemed to be reasonable. Moreover, this matter was related to revered snow. Even King Jin did not dare to pursue the matter further. The branch of the Rain Palace might have to move. After all, this Jushan Pass was probably going to be abandoned because of the demon tide. What surprised Ning Fan was that revered snow took the initiative to show goodwill to him. Originally, he thought that even if revered snow agreed to turn a blind eye to this matter, he would probably be dissatisfied. However, to his surprise, revered snow seemed to want to befriend him. Why is he so attentive to me? Is it because of my pill refinement potential? Ning Fan was puzzled, but he did not ask. In short, revered snow should not be hostile. His goodwill was not a pretense. That was enough for him. The sword finger had been formed and he had one more trump card. It was enough to be a happy occasion. Next, it was time for the final battle. Quelling the demon tide, accumulating battle merits and leaving. Chapter 177. The bad news was that the spiritual veins within 1,000 miles of Jushan Pass had been destroyed. However, this matter was shouldered by revered snow alone. He claimed that he had used the power of the earth veins to heal himself. As such, no one dared to pursue the matter further. Unfortunately, even if the demon tide passed, the Jushan Pass would lose its spiritual vein and become a useless pass. The good news was the recovery of Venerable Snow and the antidote. It had already been 1.5 months since Ning Fan entered the territory of Great Jin. There was only 1.5 months left before the teleportation formation would be activated. He had no time to waste. He had to obtain battle merits. As the day of the decisive battle drew near, revered Snow gave the order. 19 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace and 14 nascent soul realm cultivators of the Jin army, a total of 33 people were to form a team of 3 and each of them would lead a combat division to annihilate the demon tide stronghold. The reason why there was no end to the demon tide was that there were nascent soul realm old demons who set up demon enlightening cities in the fallen lands. They used the demon enlightening techniques to enlighten the little demons. This kind of enlightenment technique could forcibly turn an ordinary domestic animal into a demon. It could also forcefully increase the demonic power of a vein opening, harmonious spirit and gold core demonic beast by 1-fold. However, the price to pay was that the demonic beast would die within a few months. Moreover, the demonic beast would lose its mind and become crazy. The demon tide was only delaying the demon general's transformation into a dragon. However, if they ignored it, it would be troublesome to annihilate the demons in one go. Ning Fan was responsible for eliminating Ling Ju Ding of the northwest region. There was a demon city located at the peak of the mountains. It specialized in transforming flying demons, and it was rumored that there were several nascent soul old demons guarding it. Outside of Jushan Pass, a group of 21 Gold Core Realm cultivators and 257 Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators of Jin Country boarded the Jin Shuttle and followed Ning Fan and the others towards Mount Lingju. The Jin Shuttle was a shuttle-shaped flying boat. Its speed was extremely fast, incomparable to a ship. However, its shortcoming was that this boat was too small, making it difficult to form a defensive formation. Moreover, its speed was so fast that it created wind, which was not something that a vein-opening junior could withstand. Only harmonious spirit experts and above could ride on it. One of them was Jie Xiao and the other was Yun Ruowei. The teams were decided based on who would go to Jushan Pass. Yun Ruowei was the last to arrive, while Ning Fan and Jie Xiao were the last to arrive. There was a subtle awkwardness between Ning Fan and Yun Ruowei. To Ning Fan, taking liberties with Yun Ruowei that day was really an act of helplessness. However, towards Yun Ruowei, the deep-rooted heart devil was not something that could be appeased by a mere apology. I'm sorry about what happened that day. I've already forgotten about what happened at Lanrua Temple. You don't have to worry about it. As for you, I know all about your background. It's best if you don't try to be brave. If there are any mid-stage nascent soul monsters in the city, I'll deal with them. Yun Ruowei was a mid-nascent soul realm expert. Even though he had a lot of trump cards, he was still just a half-step gold core realm cultivator. Even if he had a trump card that could block Yun Kuang's sword, even if he could kill gold core realm demons like ants, even if he had a fourth revolution pill refinement technique, it would still be very dangerous for him to fight a mid-nascent soul realm demon to the death. Yun Ruowei's words did not contain any contempt. For example, killing a nascent soul realm demon would cause the demon's nascent soul to flee. It was not easy to kill a demon's nascent soul. From her point of view, Ning Fan was not a nascent soul realm cultivator after all. He could not teleport. It would be difficult for him to eliminate the old demon's nascent soul. Ning Fan did not refute or explain. The battle plan was made by Jie Xiu and Yun Ruowei. He stood at the bow of the shuttle with his hands clasped behind his back and his eyes closed. Beneath his feet were ruins, old mountains, and rivers. It was a desolate sight. There were also groups of reckless demons that were scattered in groups of 3 to 5 to stop the shuttle. Most of them were harmonious spirit realm demons. Occasionally, there were gold core realm demons. Every time they encountered a peak gold core realm demon, the cultivators on the shuttle would feel nervous. However, what made them nervous was that before the fierce demons could even get close to the Jin Shua, there would be an ink-colored sword sense in the sky, like a thick ink, and the demons below the early stage of Jindan realm would die in batches almost immediately. The demons that came after them were crushed into powder by Ning Fan's fist. The burning blood pill was being refined in his body. His killing intent was being released. The colossal bone's secret art was advancing to the third realm. His battle merits were increasing rapidly like raindrops. The 21 gold core realm cultivators were at least late gold core realm. Many of them had followed other nascent soul realm cultivators to hunt down demon waves. However, none of them could kill a small demon with just a sword sense like Ning Fan. Sword sense. What a powerful ability. It was a pity that old ancestor Zhou Ming was born in the rain world. If he was in the sword world, he would surely be valued by those void fragmentation realm cultivators and be accepted as a disciple. After 10,000 years, he would surely become another void fragmentation realm sword emperor. With Ning Fan taking care of everything, these gold core realm cultivators were more than happy to not risk their lives. They only attacked occasionally to kill the small demons that slipped through the net. Safety was their top priority. His sword sense had a great effect on the consumption of his spirit power. However, Ning Fan had a lot of recovery pills. Once his spirit power was depleted, it would be replenished immediately. In 3 days, he traveled a total of 100,000 li. He had killed more than 1,000 demons and gained 250,000 battle merits. When he was killing the demons, a peak gold core realm old demon condensed a Dao fruit and was kept by him. In this way, there were 2 Dao fruits in his storage pouch. This would be the method to rapidly increase his cultivation after breaking through to the gold core realm. Yun Ruowei and Jie Xiu were in charge of arranging the formations of the harmonious spirit realm cultivators and assigning tasks to the gold core realm cultivators. Ning Fan was only responsible for eliminating the demons that blocked his way. 3 days later, he was already close to the peak. 1,000 miles away, there was a mountain that was tens of thousands of zhang tall. It was like a blade that pierced the heavens, extremely steep and extraordinary. At the top of it, there was an enormous demon city that was covered in black energy. The entire sky was covered by haze. When the Jin shuttle approached, a black wave of demons immediately rushed out from the city. There were tens of thousands of them. A murderous and bloody Yao energy spread. Even the Jindan of the battalion changed expression. Who would have thought? Dianyao City actually enlightens so many monsters. Fortunately, these tens of thousands of demons were mostly vein-opening realm birds. There were less than 1,000 harmonious spirit demons and less than 100 gold core demons. Even so, the number of demons here far exceeded the cultivators on the shuttle. 4 streaks of light flew out from the demon city and stood in the air. All 4 of them were nascent soul realm old demons. The 3 early-stage nascent soul cultivators had yet to stabilize their realms, as if they had been forcibly raised to the nascent soul realm. As for the middle-stage core formation cultivator, he was a lion-haired old man. His appearance was ordinary. However, his eyes were filled with bloodlust. Furthermore, there was a crimson symbol on his forehead. Ha! Arrogant humans! How dare you invade the hinterland of my demon race with such a small number of people? Kill! As soon as he gave the order, tens of thousands of demons immediately stood on top of the demonic clouds and swept towards them from 1,000 li away. The demonic clouds were too fast. In less than 10 breaths, they would collide with the shuttle. On the Jin shuttle, Jie Xiu and Yun Ruowei's expressions were solemn. I didn't expect them to have 4 nascent soul realm cultivators. However, from what I can see, 3 of them were awakened by a secret technique. Their strength should be weaker than me. However, the middle stage core formation cultivator is a genuine old demon. He might even be the companion of the demon general, there's no other way. Leave the lion-haired old demon to me. As for the other 3, you and fellow Taoist Zhou Ming will deal with them. Abandon the shuttle and attack. Under Yun Ruowei's command, 21 late gold core formation cultivators and 257 harmonious spirit realm cultivators flew up from the shuttle and formed a formation to face the demon tide. As for Yun Ruowei, she took the lead and teleported towards the lion-haired old demon. The lion-haired old demon seemed to have realized that Yun Ruowei was the leader of the human cultivators. He immediately soared into the sky and prepared to fight. Ning Fan's eyes were indifferent. There was no fear, only disappointment. This lion-haired old demon was undoubtedly the companion of the demon general. However, he wasn't a female demon. As such, he couldn't keep him as a cauldron. Not all of the 12 demon companions were female. The plan to keep all 12 demons was cancelled. As such, the only way was to kill. Wind and lightning moved around Ning Fan. 3 zhang silver wings grew on his back. With a flap of the wings, Ning Fan turned into a ray of silver light and dashed towards the demonic clouds. His speed was only at the early nascent soul realm. However, his momentum made the lion-haired old demon's heart tremble. Exterminate! At this moment, Ning Fan was like a fiend god. With a flap of his wings, he entered an unstoppable realm. With a sweep of his sword sense, a black light shredded the demonic clouds into countless pieces. Immediately, hundreds of vein opening and harmonious spirit realm demons were minced into pieces, wailing as they died. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. The burning blood pills were being refined one by one. The pain of blood burning spread throughout his body. His killing intent was rising. After dozens of breaths, the 2 armies finally flew 1,000 li away and engaged each other in close combat. However, the tens of thousands of demon soldiers were killed by Ning Fan with dozens of sweeps of his sword sense. Each and every demon that met Ning Fan's gaze was filled with fear. Under the effect of the burning blood pills, his colossal bone's secret art had broken through to the 4th realm of the 3rd level. Yun Ruowei was in a stalemate with the lion-haired old demon. She was secretly shocked by Ning Fan's powerful sword sense. Meanwhile, the lion-haired old demon's expression was as gloomy as water. Python King. Martin King. The 2 of you stop this man. Don't let him kill more small demons. Elephant King, go and eliminate that blind human. As soon as the lion-haired old demon gave the order, a 20 zhang tall fat man blocked Jie Xiu's path. A white-robed scholar and a yellow-robed skinny man attacked Ning Fan together. As the demon tide clashed with the human army, countless demons and cultivators fell from the sky and died. All of these turned into indifference in Ning Fan's eyes. His blood was burning under the medicinal power. His eyes were like sharp swords, sweeping across the white-robed scholar and the yellow-robed skinny man. The 2 demons' expressions changed drastically. His eyes were so sharp. Brother Huang, let's attack quickly. Don't show any mercy. This man is powerful. Got it. Demonic art, yellow wind. Demonic art, scaled snake. The two demons formed hand seals and turned into demons. They didn't have long to live. No matter how terrifying Ning Fan was, the two demons swore to fight to the death. These two demonic arts had just reached the nascent realm. However, the two demons' hand seals were obviously stiff and far from being proficient. Humph. This demonic art is not enough. Break. Ning Fan's sword sense swept across. Whether it was the yellow wind or the thousands of silver snakes formed by the demonic art, they were all crushed by the black sword sense. As for Ning Fan, he patted his storage pouch and took out the black corpse. Black armor, kill by E. I, kill the yellow-robed skinny man. As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped on the ground and flapped his wings. Like a sword light, he shot towards the yellow-robed skinny man. Initially, the white-robed and yellow-robed demons worked together to deal with Ning Fan. They thought that they had the advantage in numbers, so they weren't afraid of Ning Fan. However, they never expected that Ning Fan had a nascent soul realm black-armored refined corpse. The refined corpse threw out punches without defending itself against the white-robed scholar's demonic art. It allowed the demonic art to land on its body. Each punch carried endless corpse chi. Even if the white-robed man tried his best to evade, he was still affected by the corpse chi. His demonic force became more and more sluggish. As for the yellow-robed skinny man, he was even more horrified. Under his disbelieving gaze, Ning Fan shouted coldly and turned into a 36 zhang tall giant. The third level of the colossal bone's secret art. Without a small realm, the giant's body grew to 12 zhang tall. In front of the 36 zhang tall giant, the yellow-robed skinny man was only the size of the giant's thumb. The moment Ning Fan's body turned into a giant, the yellow-robed skinny man felt a sense of impending death. Ice break. As the fist was thrown, the ice broke and thousands of zhang froze. The heaven and earth around the yellow-robed skinny man shook violently. His treasure armor was shattered by the punch and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. He was already severely injured. He knew that he would die if he tried to escape, but he would still die if he didn't. The yellow-robed skinny man made up his mind. The yellow wind demonic art swirled around his body and turned into 3 demonic shadows. Each of them held a yellow sand spear and rushed towards the giant's eye, trying to blind it. 2 of the 3 demonic shadows were illusory and 1 real. This technique was the most common minor demonic technique among the demonic arts, the shadow-splitting technique. The purpose of separating the shadows was to confuse the enemy. However, this confusion turned into a trace of mockery in the eyes of the giant. With a sweep of his sword sense, the 2 illusory shadows could not withstand the sword sense and exploded into nothingness. As for the yellow-robed skinny man, he felt a sweetness in his throat and spurted out a mouthful of blood. How? How could this be? Before the yellow-robed skinny man could finish his last sentence, the giant slammed his palm and crushed the yellow-robed nascent soul to death like a bird. Then, it swallowed the flesh and blood of the yellow-robed skinny man in one gulp. When the yellow-robed skinny man died, a small yellow sable's nascent soul immediately stirred up a gust of demonic wind and escaped with a speed comparable to a mid-nascent soul cultivator. When a cultivator died, their soul could enter the nascent soul as long as their nascent soul was not destroyed. They could then use the nascent soul as their body to escape. Moreover, the teleportation speed of the nascent soul was usually faster than the cultivator's true body by a small realm. Unfortunately, the nascent soul and demon nascent soul were extremely fragile. Unless they could find another body to reincarnate, even ordinary core realm magical techniques would be able to injure these nascent souls. Seeing the nascent soul escaping, Ning Fan did not chase after it. He couldn't catch up to it, but there was no need to chase after it. A lightning star flashed on the glabella of the giant. Immediately, thunder rumbled continuously within 100 li radius. The nascent soul escaped 100 li in an instant. Before it could relax, it suddenly felt like it was being locked by lightning. A bolt of lightning struck down from above its head. The lightning struck fear into the nascent soul's face. It teleported again and escaped 100 li away. However, its teleportation seemed to have teleported along with the lightning. No matter how far it escaped, the lightning would always hover above its head. This scene was similar to the lightning tribulation of a gold core realm demon. It was locked and unable to escape. After teleporting for a few thousand li, the nascent soul's magical power finally became unstable. It couldn't escape anymore and was struck down by a bolt of lightning. It died instantly. In less than 10 breaths, Ning Fan had already killed a nascent soul. The giant let out a loud roar. His voice was mixed with thunder. The lightning that struck 100 li radius made the demons tremble in fear. The demon race feared the lightning tribulation. This was the reason why King Jin was willing to keep Ning Fan in Jin country because of the divine star of lightning. The lion-haired man, the dark-skinned man and the white-robed man were shocked. Especially the white-robed man. After the death of the yellow-robed skinny man, he naturally became the giant's second target. No, not good. The thought of him, a dignified nascent soul realm demon king, being pinched to death by the giant like a sparrow made his heart tremble. Even if he escaped, he would still die. However, it was better than being pinched to death and eaten by the giant. I don't want to die in the giant's mouth and be chewed to pieces. I don't want to. He used a demonic technique to shake off the black corpse and teleported away. However, the primordial force of heaven and earth was dispersed by the giant's palm, causing his teleportation to fail. Ice shatter. White-robed snake bones were shattered. The giant's punch had shattered his nascent soul. 90% of his demonic power was dispersed and he couldn't even teleport anymore. His white snake body fled in a hurry. However, the giant took a step forward and caught up to him, slamming his palm down. Puff! The white snake spurted out blood. Its white scales peeled off in the air. It was pinched by the giant like an earthworm. The giant sneered and chewed the snake's corpse, causing blood to drip down. Die! Next! The giant's gaze fell upon the dark man who was fighting with Jieshio. The dark man's face was filled with fear. Like the white snake and the yellow sable, he was a nascent soul realm cultivator. Although he had the magical power of a nascent soul realm cultivator, his combat strength was still slightly lower than a real nascent soul realm cultivator. He was already riddled with scars from Jieshio's attack. How could he withstand the combined attacks of the giant, the black corpse and Jieshio? Escape! I must escape. Even if I have to fight again, I must escape to another demon city and plan again. He fled in fear. Due to his carelessness, Jieshio's killing intent moved and hit his head with a 3-chi jade ruler. His brain splattered and he died. His nascent soul wanted to escape, but Jieshio crushed it with another ruler. The situation was reversed. The last nascent soul realm cultivator was the lion hare who was fighting with Yun Ruowei. His face was filled with shock. He didn't know that he had misjudged them. The strongest among them wasn't Yun Ruowei but Ning Fan. Damn it! I spent a lot of effort to enlighten 3 nascent soul realm demon kings, but they were all killed by you. All of you must die. I'll let you have a taste of the power of a demon general. The lion hare pushed Yun Ruowei away with a palm strike. His face revealed a crazy smile and his finger touched the blood-red rune on his glabella. A blood-colored tyrannical aura immediately spread out, causing Yun Ruowei and Jieshio to be shocked. Not good. This is the attack of a demon general. Quickly teleport away. Just as the two of them were about to use their own techniques to block this attack, they did not expect that Ning Fan would step on the sky with his giant body. With rumbling footsteps, he fearlessly walked towards the lion-haired man. Facing the blood-red light, he waved his hand and took out a blood-red jade slip. At the same time, the shadows of two bloody giant carps collided in the sky. The demonic force shook the thousands of demons and tens of harmonious spirit cultivators to death. Ning Fan also had the attack of a demon general. The two bloody lights gradually melted after a loud bang. There was no trace left in the sky except for a faint blood mist. The smile on the lion hare's face froze and turned into a look of shock. No. Impossible. This is the trump card that the demon general gave to his companion. How did you get it? I know it now. You killed the demon general's companion and took it. You're dead. Human, you're dead. I don't know whether I'll die or not. But you will die today and the items in your storage pouch will belong to me. Sword finger, mountain shattering. The giant sneered and pointed his right finger downwards. That finger was even larger than the lion-haired demonic body. Instantly, all of the mountains in the 500-kilometer area began to tremble and collapse. Every time a mountain was destroyed, the sword light on the finger became sharper. The power of the finger was comparable to a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator's ultimate attack. The giant's finger pressed down fiercely in the midst of the mountain collapsing and the earth cracking. It was a finger that was as heavy as the earth and as sharp as the sword chi. If it was in the past, the lion hare would have been able to withstand the finger. But after fighting with Yun Ruowei for a long time and activating the demon general's attack, his demonic strength had been greatly reduced. It was extremely difficult for him to withstand the attack. Moreover, the finger gave the lion hare an oppressive feeling of 1,000 mountains, making him unable to teleport or evade. The only thing he could do was to withstand the attack. I'll fight you to the death. He gathered the remaining demonic strength in his palm and turned it into a 10 zhang tall golden ball. He then blasted it towards the giant's finger. Every time the golden ball exploded, the sky would tremble violently. The giant felt a great pain in his chest, but he did not retreat. Die! The giant wanted to kill the lion hare with his finger even if he was injured. The golden ball was shattered. The 1,000 mountains shook and the lion hare spat out a mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. The giant grabbed the lion hare with a ruthless expression and threw him into his mouth while the lion hare was still terrified. Then, Ning Fan retreated from the giant's avatar and kept it in his cauldron ring without looking at the lion hare's storage pouch. He then consumed a pill to suppress his injuries and began to chase after the small demons. Fellow Taoist Yun, fellow Taoist Jia, quickly helped the juniors eliminate the demons and reduce the casualties. All right. Jia Xiu's admiration for Ning Fan had reached its peak. The timing of the spirit-severing realm attack and the terrifying sharpness of the giant's finger had shocked him greatly. This young man could kill a mid-nascent soul realm expert. He was more than qualified to be the 7th commander. As for Yun Ruowei, her heart trembled again and again. Even though she knew that he was a half-step gold core realm expert who was comparable to a nascent soul realm expert and a 4th revolution pill refinement realm expert, she still couldn't believe that the 4 nascent soul realm experts were all killed by him alone. This kind of crazy massacre made Yun Ruowei feel a trace of fear. As for the devil in her heart, it was even deeper. It was so deep that she had no choice but to have a long talk with Ning Fan. However, what she couldn't understand was why Ning Fan would sacrifice his spirit-severing realm attack to kill the lion hare with his instantaneous movement to avoid the spirit-severing realm attack. She couldn't understand why Ning Fan would sacrifice his spirit-severing realm attack to kill the lion hare without saying anything. He might be able to retreat by combining the strength of the other 2 nascent soul realm experts and block the spirit-severing realm attack together. However, if he did that, he would probably let the lion hare escape. Even if he had to use up one of his trump cards, he had to keep the lion hare's life. The reason was naturally the storage pouch. He did not see what was inside the pouch, but there was a trace of immemorial star's chi in the pouch which caused the yin-yang locket and the separation slayer sword to tremble. There's no mistaking it. The immemorial star. Moreover, there seemed to be quite a number of them. This item was far more precious than a spirit-severing realm attack. It was not worth it to let the lion hare escape and miss this item. After obtaining the storage pouch, even though he did not look at the items inside, he could vaguely feel that there was something inside that made his demon blood boil. It seemed to be a supreme treasure that could increase his demon power. He did not tell anyone that these were his spoils of war. Not even the Rain Palace could take them away. As for the remaining small demons, they would all turn into battle merits and be stored in his merit jade. A few hours later, the battle ended. Other than the ruins that were destroyed by Ning Fan's mountain-shattering finger, there were only countless demon corpses and occasionally human corpses. The battle merits in the merit jade had already exceeded 700,000. 70% of the battle merits of the small demons and 3 nascent soul realm experts were taken by Ning Fan alone. Each of the gold core realm and harmonious spirit realm experts who survived were filled with joy. Even Jie Xiu felt happy for the victory. However, Yun Ruowei had mixed feelings. As a demon, she had to slay demons. Although she did not say it out loud, her heart was filled with helplessness. As for Ning Fan, he stood among the countless corpses in silence. Have a safe journey. As soon as he finished speaking, he got on the Jean shuttle. His words made Yun Ruowei's eyes flash. She thought to herself, Ning Fan, who is the most ruthless when he kills, would also feel sentimental after killing. There was enmity between them when they were alive. But after death, this enmity would be resolved once and for all. What an open-minded person. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.